Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is brought to you by, well, you. If you want to learn how to support the show, go to patreon.com/laststandmedia. Salutations, everybody. It is Matty here today, and welcome to episode 85 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. As always, I'm joined by my co-host, Lord Danganronpa.
We gotta talk.
This What We're Playing section, I am anticipating so heavily. When you told me, like, during DDU, you're like, we gonna talk. I was like, oh, it's just been in my head rent free. Yeah. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing good. It's good to be back, on the mainline show. Yeah, man. There's been so much going on, to be honest. I've been so busy, a little bit stressed. I told you, it's so much going on. And just trying to compartmentalize, get everything in order. You know what I'm saying? Then obviously the end of the year and a lot more stuff going on. So it's been a very busy year, and we're trying to juggle everything. Mm-hmm. But I always love talking games with you. So it's like this is not work to me. You know what I'm saying? This is just
question time here.
Yeah, this is just have some fun. Let's talk with the homie. You know what I'm saying? And see what's going on. But how you been, man?
Been doing well. Went to the Long Island Retro Gaming Expo just this past weekend. It was a lot of fun. Very different from what I've typically gone to, PAX E3. I just wanted to put it out there. I want to recommend people check it out. It's a really good time because they host it in, I'm going to have to look up the exact name of the place, but it's like a space and aircraft museum, but it's like lined with arcade machines and CRTs and booth vendors because that place is taken over by this Retro Gaming Expo. It's such a weird clash, but it works really well. It was a lot of fun.
I remember seeing advertisement for it back in the day. What's the location? It's not near Roosevelt Field Mall, none of that stuff, right? Well, know where the location?
It's in the Cradle of Aviation Museum.
Trying to remember what part of LI though, if you remember.
Oh, Garden City?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I remember seeing advertising, and it looked cool. Whatever I saw, I said, this looked cool. And I just never got around to it. Getting out to the island sometimes, a little track. You know what I'm saying? But I do need to add that on a resume of conventions. I love that type of stuff. And retro, I got to check
Definitely,
that out.
If you're looking to shop more, not like game booths or anything, it's a shopper's expo for sure.
Gotcha.
Like, I talk about it like the flea market for video games. So it's really cool for me, but those prices were not cool. This game collecting hobby is out of pocket right now. Literally, it is. I mean, I had people talking to me like I had no idea what I was doing out there. They're like, "I'm a collector, man. This is a good price." I'm looking at like Pokemon Blue for $400. I'm like, no, I'm okay. Like really, I'm okay. Thanks, dude.
I'm good.
I'll take my chances elsewhere. So like, I had to, bro. I was haggling, man. You would have put me on a reality TV show. Like they got, oh my God, what's the American Pickers? Where he's just working deals on the fly. That was like me at this expo. I was just really trying to work to the best of my ability to just get market price, by the way. Everything was overpriced. So I was just trying to pay what I'd get online. So it's tough out there, but I digress. Fun show. Really had a lot of good times there. And I also saw, I met Justin from Eon Gaming, who is a co-founder of the company. He gave me a GameCube adapter. I just wanted to shout out Eon. I'm going to shout them out in a Retro Rebound video, but he flagged me down. I guess he recognized me. He said I'm a patron at LSM, and also I love Retro Rebound. And so I was like, oh, sweet, let's go. And, got to talking with him. He asked if I had any of their stuff. I said I have the N64 adapter. He was very kind, gave me the GameCube one, just said, hey, a little shout out wouldn't hurt. Said, sure thing, especially, with such a wonderful device like this. I've used it for years. It's how I've recorded a lot of my old Let's Plays with my girlfriend, where we played like Pokemon Stadium on my channel. We used the Eon adapter for the Nintendo 64. So just wanted to send some love their way, especially if they're patrons of LSM. I felt it only makes sense. Thank you for flagging me down. I also met a couple of the viewers there, which was really nice. Kind of weird, right? I thought at PAX I'd see more, but it was here that I got stopped a lot more.
Superstar, man.
Yeah. Stroking my ego a little bit.
I was recognized a few times.
Yeah, just a couple times.
That's dope.
Anyway, for those who are interested in supporting our lovely little show, You can go over to patreon.com/laststandmedia, where early access goes live on Thursdays. You can also get access to our bonus show, Defining Duke Ultimate, where Cog and I just recorded an episode 81. It's called Delays. And indeed, we'll talk about one delay that happened while we were recording that episode. It was a game that we were excited about. We said, man, hopefully they don't delay this one, and they did. So the episode became immediately out of date in one regard. Cog, one of us is cursed here. I don't know who. But the episode is great nonetheless. Wouldn't you agree?
No, the episode was fantastic. I just hate the fact that I jinxed something, I feel. And it's just like it's coming back to me. It's just
rubbing
like,
off on you.
Yeah, man. They got, we'll talk about where they got me, but they got me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, a couple of things before we begin with news and audience write-ins. We got some great ones this week, so thank you all so much. Sean Mason being our first one, the man, the myth, the legend. He writes, "Hey Dukes, thank you all so much for your kind words and wishes that you and the community sent my way during this difficult time. This past week was the most challenging week of my life, but the support you have all shown me has made it easier to deal with. From the bottom of my heart, I cannot thank everyone in the LSM community enough. Hope you all have a wonderful day. Best, Sean M." So, we said Sean was doing pretty bad when we last spoke, but I'm glad to hear he's doing a little bit better now, and he's going home. And so shout out to Sean. Hope you're doing much better now, and we're happy to send those kind words your way, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Much love to Sean. And I reached out to him personally once I got the news, because I think when it happened, a lot of it, I was traveling, and he was telling me, he's like, I'm coming home, I'm still on the road to recovery, but he's so fortunate. He's so blessed. He's loved the community. Good dude. And it's cool to see us come together for him, and good to see he's on his road to recovery. So salute to you, brother. Heal up.
Absolutely. With that, let's move into some gaming news, because we got quite a bit this week, believe it or not. Things are starting to heat up with QuakeCon, Gamescom. We got some things happening. A new showcase got announced. So we're going to have some stuff to talk about, Cog. Finally. All right. So first one was a bit of a leak. I put this in the before we begin section because this may be outdated by the time that our show goes live. Quake 2, it was updated over on the Steam database, and it's been speculated there is a possible remaster incoming. That said, Bethesda has said recently that they're simplifying Steam listings for id games, so you're going to see some changes on the end of the database. But last QuakeCon, they did announce the Quake remaster, which released day one on Game Pass. It was in 4K. They added all the expansions in and whatnot. It was a pretty nice surprise. So with QuakeCon impending, Cog, I want to know, do you think it just makes sense that here we have Quake 2?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's capitalize on the movement and the convention and keep that momentum going. I am not a Quake guy like that, but I'll be willing to give it a shot. See what's going on with a remaster and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm all for it. Let's see what's going. I am dying to know what that aspect of Bethesda is doing and how they're going to handle that, because that's such a big part of who they are and that annual thing. Now, how does that work with you underneath the Microsoft umbrella? So I'm very curious about this, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're warming up this franchise for something. It just seems so sudden to be dropping random Quake remasters. I'm happy they're preserving these games and giving them the respect they absolutely deserve. But me, the speculitis man, just sees this as an opportunity to, revitalize the series, maybe hand the reins to id, which has been the rumor for some time, make a little announcement there and say, by the way, now Quake 2 is around. You can get your hands on that one. But yeah, they're reminding people this thing exists for a reason. I don't think it's just happening. So I think something's boiling in the
something's
pot.
Cooking. Something's cooking.
Is that a term, boiling in the pot, or did I just make that up?
No, you just made that.
All right. It was like, well, how can I say something's cooking differently?
That's all you went to that one right there. That's you.
I'll own it.
No doubt.
Next up, as the battle in Brazil between PlayStation and Xbox wages on, we have another interesting yet predictable update based off the last generation. In defense of Microsoft's purchase of Activision, they mentioned that PlayStation has sold more than twice as many PS4 units as the Xbox One. It was only last week that Sony stopped sharing shipment units updates for PS4, meaning that the final total for the console is 117.2 million units sold, meaning that Xbox One sits at roughly 55 million. The document also concedes that PlayStation will continue to have a strong market or stronger market position than Xbox. So, Cog, I think the obvious has been confirmed here, but now we have some numbers. PlayStation really kicked Microsoft between the legs. Last generation, more than double. Pretty impressive.
Absolutely. And again, that's why it was funny because I was talking when we did the so mad if we couldn't make that one, the Xbox One retrospective.
Yeah.
But shout out to King, and people don't realize how truly bad it was. I think people have revisionist history. I remember that generation like it was, yesterday, and it was brutal. And they went into a period of I don't even know if they believed in gaming anymore based on the leadership at the time. I am not surprised by these numbers at all because at one point they stopped reporting, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I was just like, yeah. And then the shift became engagement. And I get it. You control the narrative, you change your business strategy. But I say all that to say this in the sense that this is actually, in a funny way, a good defense based on what they're trying to accomplish legally
the same thing,
with the optics, right? Because it's like, oh, you're saying we're going to be all this, we're going to be a monopoly, or not monopoly, but we're going to be such in a dominant position. But one, we're the third in revenue, and then two, it's like, look, you're the market leader. Like they literally, if you look at this,
chess, man.
Yeah, this chess. This is high stakes.
They're like, we took the L, man. We took the L.
We took the L. We got destroyed. You guys are the market leader. You guys will continue to be the strongest thing out there since sliced bread. We're just a little old Microsoft trying to. It's funny. You listen, corporations go corporate. I'm not mad at Sony for like, yo, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, yo, it's not in their best interest to let this deal go through. So they're going to say something, right? And it's not, and to Microsoft's point, they have to defend the fact that, hey, we're on the comeback. We're nobody. There's not nothing substantial going on over here.
Absolutely. It appears my my webcam's back. Okay. I don't know. It froze at a good time though. Last time it froze, I was making a funny face. Last time I was laughing. So
all right, you good.
I don't know what's going on. This thing's lasted me a long time. I may be due finally for a replacement, but I was trying to hold out till I got like a new studio space, better lighting. So I was like, that just makes more sense when I'm reinvesting in the whole thing.
No, I got you.
Hopefully it just got to hold on a little bit.
Just hold up, baby. Just hold
early next year. It's all you got to do, Logitech. It's all you got to do. All right, next thing here. I thought this was interesting. If you pre-order Modern Warfare 2, you unlock campaign access 1 full week early on October 20th. And then they're saying the full game will unlock October 28th. So, sorry, 8 days. But this cog I thought was kind of surprising here that the campaign is being offered as a pre-order bonus. And not only that, but a full week to complete that, get it out of the way, so you can just get right into the multiplayer. A little bit of a difference here, yeah?
Yeah, interesting strategy, especially with them. I remember this type of stuff with EA Play, and seeing them do that with a lot of their bigger titles, but Call of Duty, and again, it has to be future thinking. Like if Microsoft more than likely gets control of this deal, what are the things that they can do to leverage and position their platform as the optics platform to play Call of Duty in maybe 2024 or when the PlayStation marketing rights end. But yeah, this is substantial. This is something to pay attention to because again, they can get you can see how creative they can get with stuff like this.
100%. So. We will monitor this closely, but again, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 coming out October 28th. Next up, Toys for Bob, which will soon be a first-party studio for Xbox, provided the deal goes through. Teases they're working on a brand new game. Now, this kind of entered the news mill a little bit ago when Jez had said that they may be working on a Crash Online game, Crash Bash maybe, and it's now being teased by Toys for Bob officially. So last we had heard about Toys for Bob, they were working in the Warzone mill, if you will. And now they're teasing on their Twitter account. They say, thanks for playing along. How many did you guess correctly? It's pretty convenient. We have more wall space to cover with a winky face. And it is a wall of games for Toys for Bob with all of the games that they have released throughout their studio's history. And then they have Crash 4 at number 17, and then at number 18, it has a bunch of question marks, as in a new game is set to arrive shortly, and they're teasing it now, so I imagine an announcement is impending. Maybe Gamescom will see this one. But, Cog, what do you feel about Toys for Bob still making their own games despite being on Warzone duty? We've talked a lot here on the show about the Call of Duty cycle and how it can kind of be, if you will, at least for the consumer, it looks like poisonous for developers. But we're seeing them still put out other games that are not Call of Duty, seemingly.
Yeah, no, this is good. For me, I want I want studios still to kind of retain some semblance of that identity instead of being Call of Duty sweatshops, to be honest. And Toys for Bob is a very substantial part of this deal. It almost reminds me as well as the King portion. And I know gamers, the hardcore, sometimes don't want to hear about these type of games, but Microsoft needs them. Microsoft needs that younger platformer demographic, almost that switch bag, you know what I mean, kind of thing. I look at Crash Bandicoot, former Sony mascot, and we're very fortunate just recently ILP to have the legendary Jason Rubin on, who the creator of Crash and the importance of it and what it did in the industry. And look, having that marketing and association, I mean, if you remember, Aaron Greenberg caused a little controversy, but he put the Crash, when the deal was announced, he put the Crash thing on his. They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the marketing. Like, they know they understand the significance, and it's up to them if Game Pass is going to be successful with it. You have to conquer markets and demographics you're not in. Mobile and then kids, they don't really have that presence at all. So I'm excited to see Toys for Bob do what they're known to do.
They would be very wise to liberate this team among, I would say, all of them. This is the one that I think if you're trying to create more diversity in your library offering and the IP you have alongside them, this is the one that you break free for sure.
Last point, and you're so right with that, because again, internally, you'll be surprised to see what actually moves units for these companies, for these corporations. It's not always the games we love and we're like, that's the game of the year. Sometimes them games ain't the games that's actually driving the company and the corporation forward. They're living off some of these other games. So keep in mind. Yeah, Toys for Bob, do your thing.
100%. Next, more set photos for the Fallout TV show have leaked. This time we're seeing the interior of Vault 32. There's some Fallout 3 vibes here. You can find these easily online. On the outside of the vault, we see a little farm. And did my research, Cog. This one here is likely set on the West Coast if the lore is to be consistent. Every single vault up to vault technically 44, because that's one that was used for the board game expansion. But if we're looking at canon, Vault 34 was the last one we saw on the West Coast. So everything from 3 to 34 is on the West Coast. Anything after that is East Coast. So it only stands to reason that 32 would have a little bit of West Coast vibes. This is no surprise in the Fallout universe. 1, 2, New Vegas, all West Coast games. But I think they know what they're doing here, right? I think you see the inside of the vault here with these images I hyperlinked on our doc. You can see like the interior of the vault with the cradle and whatnot, Fallout 3 vibes, but yet the vault number, the exterior, New Vegas vibes. This could be dangerous for me, man. This could be very dangerous. I'm starting to have a little hope here.
Bro,
so,
you in trouble. This is giving me vibes. Like, if you're doing this, like, you gotta be doing something in conjunction with a game. It makes sense to market these things together. Like, you can't just let this come out there by itself with nothing game-wise to connect it with.
Absolutely. So
this look clean. I like this.
Yeah, I really like what I'm seeing with it. Obviously, it's not showing the story or whatever, but I digress. It looks good visually, which is a step forward compared to a lot of other ones out there, which other video game adaptations, I should say. All right, last before we begin, and then we'll talk about what games we are playing. Lee Doherty writes in, "Hey, Dukes, what are your views on the Death Stranding to PC Game Pass rumors? Is this possible? Will it eventually come to consoles? Is it a step in the direction of more Sony games on Game Pass or even Game Pass coming to PlayStation? And will you be trying out Death Stranding on PC? Thanks as always, and I have to move my house and put my consoles in boxes for 2 weeks kind of day. Best of luck with that, Lee. Hope your move goes smoothly." Now, Cog, we saw over on Twitter that the PC Game Pass account had said that they just want to post a little landscape photo, and they changed their profile picture, calling attention to it. And that profile picture was a landscape of none other than Death Stranding. Now, again, this was specifically the PC Game Pass account. This was not Xbox Game Pass, which would account for console, PC, everywhere. This was just PC Game Pass. But it seems like they are suggesting that Death Stranding is coming to the service. I want to throw this out there, though, not as a curveball to make people not believe, but it just reminds me so much of when they teased about Judgment coming to Game Pass. Remember, the Game Pass Twitter account put Yagami on a list of characters and said like, oh, look at all these characters that are in Game Pass. And then they crossed them out in a separate post and then added Burgle from Grounded and they said, thanks to our friends at Obsidian for pointing this out. And when they crossed out Yagami, they put oopsies next to it, like, again, calling attention to it, like, oh, he's not there yet. So everyone thought that Judgment was going to come to Game Pass. And I think we were quick to forget it never did. It may have just been teasing that it was going to come to Xbox, which it did, but there was no Judgment on Game Pass. And that was through the Game Pass Twitter account. So just keep that in mind. But Cog, do you think Death Stranding will arrive on PC Game Pass? Has Xbox found a way to circumnavigate Sony once again, like they did with MLB The Show?
This is very strange to me. I didn't see this coming. I'll be honest. Two things here. One, for the record, I think me and you are consistent here. We are not Death Stranding guys, so I'm not going to sit there and go crazy. Like, oh my God.
I said the same thing in my video, bro. I was like, look, I said, just because it's in the service does not mean I'm suddenly a fan of this game.
Yeah, I'm going to keep it all the way 100. I've been consistent on how I felt about the game and why I was not interested, you know what I'm saying, when it came out. I say that, though, honestly. Now, if you want to throw it in a service to let me try for quote unquote free 99, of course I'm going to check it out. At that point, then you have my attention. But here's the thing, like, the thing that's so interesting, Phil Spencer's shelf is powerful. Bro, remember that shelf? We were like, why is this thing there? Yep. To this day, I was like, and everything was cryptic. So he was telling us, and I still remember that Switch was still up there. I'm not giving up on the Switch either. That's a side tangent. But back on this, like, this is interesting because this is how I look at it. In my opinion, there's no way, based on what we now are learning more about, Sony, and which I have no problem with them putting the language in the contracts to say, yo, no competing service, no Game Pass. I don't have a problem with that. I am surprised by this because this to me tells me one or two things. One, the game, obviously Sony owns the IP, but the leverage Kojima must have in in the contractual nature of this deal, because 505, I'm assuming, is going to do the outsourcing for the port on PC Game Pass. So to me, it feels like he has something in place that, okay, after a certain time period, I can do whatever I want with it on some level. The question is, and this is what I'm going to ask you, because I'm still torn by this. Why PC Game Pass? That's interesting to me. PC Game Pass specifically, because I'm just like, you can't tell me that Sony is a fan of this language and it could go in there.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I look at it, to me, as it doesn't look like a loss if it comes to PC. I think it's all optical, right? Because PlayStation, as we'll answer in one of our questions later, is moving into the PC space more and more, right? Spider-Man just came out on PC. There's a significant gap between their exclusives launching on the console and them coming to PC. But if people believe the end result of their exclusives is always ending up on PC, then when one is already on PC and Xbox gets a hold of it, I think right there in that neutral territory, it doesn't look like a loss for PlayStation. It doesn't look like what the show was, which was like, this was on our console, and now it's on yours and Switch and Game Pass. That was, to me, the more bigger optical blow. Like, it was a show in PlayStation for years and years and years and years. This, Studio, to me, I think, unless fanboys really want to drum it up, isn't going to be that big of an optical loss for PlayStation. I just find it fascinating, particularly because I start to think about Deathloop, Ghostwire Tokyo. What do you navigate with that now? Have you learned something from this here? If there was anything to learn, by the way, if Xbox found something out in the papers that they can get these games onto their service, can they figure something out with those games, which are both on PC, and get them onto PC Game Pass?
It's interesting, but what I also find interesting is Xbox's awareness to promote and play cryptic with this. Because to me, that shows that the zeitgeist and value of Kojima, the Kojima game on your platform.
Oh, right?
and it's like you change, bro. You changed your profile picture to the Death Stranding, kind of thing. This is interesting to me, and I would love if I was a fly on the wall to see how the contract was written, because in my opinion, I can't see any scenario where PlayStation is saying, yes, you can put this on a competing service if we help, fund the game or publish the game kind of thing. It's very, very strange to me, So, and then obviously, I don't know if you saw Kojima seem to be cooking up.
Yeah, cooking up the trailer. Yep.
Something's going on. My dream that was kind of like a year or two late finally happened with the thing. Like something's cooking, bro. I have a strong feel, whether it be Game Awards, something is cooking, and I am here for it.
Opening night live with Jeff Keighley hosting the show this coming week. Do you think we lay eyes on what's next from Kojima, or do you think we just get a Death Stranding PC Game Pass trailer?
Probably the trailer for Death Stranding, probably, if my guess is in the more immediate future, and then the Xbox specific thing in that potential, what my dream scenario was, which was, Game Awards or whatever. So,
gotcha. Well, we will watch with bated breath as opening night live is next Tuesday. So we'll see what's going to be there. But for now, let's get into the most anticipated section of our show. What games are playing this week? Please, God, go first. I'd love to hear what you've been up to.
I bet you would.
Yes. I need the review.
Yeah, after being threatened and bullied for weeks on weeks, I found the perfect opportunity. Shout out to the Steam Deck. You know what I mean? 2 6-hour flights, to San Fran and back, which afforded me a lot of time. And
you put the hours in too. Okay.
I put a few hours in. But the thing is this, let's get to the record. So Danganronpa picked it out. Okay, let's go. Let me restart. Let me give it a fresh look.
Oh, okay.
Because last time I came in there kicking and scratching. I was like, let me go with the fresh mindset. So, okay, for the record, I love the concept of the game, right? The concept of the game, really cool. The students you learn is all these different, unique, personalities and things of that nature, and then it took a while for me, though, to get going. I'm like, come on, y'all got to get going now. I get it. It's a lot of pontificating and a lot of, just a lot of extra dialogue. Oh, it's just so much dialogue. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I get it. I established these kids. I love, the ultimate this. This guy's the ultimate baseball. This guy's the ultimate. And I'm like, all right. And then you got the one main protagonist, and he's just like, yo, I'm the regular, ordinary guy. I don't even know why I'm here. But you find out he's like the ultimate lucky student. So I'm like, okay, I get your thing now. So again, I'm struggling in the beginning, though. I'm just like, man, they got to get on with this.
This is your first ever time, or are you struggling on the airplane right now?
Yeah, I'm still struggling. I'm like, I'm gonna lie, I'm cursing you. I'm like, come on, man, when is this thing gonna come? Like, I'm dying right now. So then it finally gets to the thing, and they're like, all right, at night, you got to go to your room and you can't go out, right? That's the rules of this school that they locked in. When the evil bear come out, I will say, the bear is hilarious. I love the bear. Yeah. The bear is here for the effery. Like he like, oh, y'all don't understand. Like no one, until the murder's going down, right? We gonna have to up the stakes, right? Mm-hmm. If you want to escape, someone has to kill someone. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we get, and then for me, when the game started to heat, was the trial. You are absolutely right about that. Nice. When the trial happened, I'm like, okay, let's see what this thing is doing, right? And I'm not going to spoil for those that haven't played it, but somebody gets bodied in a crazy situation. So I said, oh, not like this. So I was like, okay, so I'm playing. I'm like, all right, let's see what's going on. Now, this is where the game, I have to give it its props. As much as I'm kicking and scratching, I got issues with this game, but I have to give it its props. The way they did investigative storytelling, like on the 5th, this, but we noticed this doorknob was here. And then, you needed to, like, it was the whodunit, but it was so well written and how they created that, like how they led to it. I was like, okay, I like this. So the trial kicked on. You have these sections, and then you have to kind of refute and say, no, because basically you're on trial too. They think you did it. So I was just like, oh no. So you're defending yourself, you're going through this, and then the game starts to teach you these mechanics about the situation. First, it's a clue gathering stage.
Yep.
Then before the clue gathering, then you go to the trial. Then the trial is, okay, you have to pick apart things and use the correct answers based on, so you had to remember, you had to research. I like that part. This is where I want to lose it with this damn game. Okay. So now we get to now. Okay, I'm liking you, dang. Okay. And then it's like, it's clear after a while, I know who did it, right? So I'm like, okay, cool. It's such and such. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Right? No, but you have to prove this, that, and the third. Then we're going to do this other mini game.
You were
and it's
ahead of the game. Okay.
It's like 6 mini games. I'm like, bro. Then it was bro, this the part we literally said, yeah, everyone agreement is you. You guilty. You are the scarlet letter. You did it. And then it's like, then he goes into this rage phase. The person goes into this rage phase where it's like, well, I don't care what you say. I'm not guilty. and then you got to do the thing that drove me nuts, Matty. You got to do this dance revolution mechanic to a tap in this thing. And if you fail it, even though you already identified this person as the murderer, if you don't you fail the mechanic. I was like, Danganronpa, no. No, Danganronpa. I said everything you were doing was fire. The trial, fire. The suspense, how dark the game gets. Fire. Music, fire. I actually like the music.
Oh, really?
In this game.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
I actually like the music in this game. So look, it's just, I think what it was is, this is my final thing on it. For its time.
Please go on. This doesn't
I know you love it. Okay.
I'm enjoying this.
For its time, I could tell this was revolutionary. For its time. I get it. It's just that in this time, I just feel like if they just trim a bit of the fat, maybe the sequels do that. You could tell me, you could educate me on that. The sequels just trim a little of the fat. Oh God. Yeah. And then just I love the whodunit. I love the trial aspect. I want more of that, and the game would be perfect to me.
I will throw out there, the mini games in the second game I think are awful personally. I think they get worse.
Oh God.
But V3, I think that's like their best game. That's where they get it all right. Like the storytelling, the pacing, the mini games, it's all there.
Yeah. It's just the pacing, and that's it. But everything that the game was trying to do, I thought was good. I go for it. I saw it through. I was all right, let me go through this. All right, this is cool. But it's just, I don't know if I could stay with long because it's so much fat between it. And it's just like, I just, you know what I want? I want a game of all trials. I know you got to build towards it. I know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
But it's just like, if they could just get to that part a little faster, just a little bit faster. That's all. And then other than that, I'll be good. But it has a dark side to it that I like, that I didn't expect. So yeah, shout out to Danganronpa.
I'm just saying, second chapter is my favorite.
Second. All right. So that's your favorite.
Second chapter and fourth chapter are my favorite. Third chapter is my least.
I will continue for the second, because there's a part of me, as much as I'm complaining, I want to know what happened. I ain't gonna lie. There's a part of me.
I don't know how you finish the first chapter and go, I don't want to know what the hell's going on here. But I will throw out there.
Go ahead.
I want to not throw out there. I just want to know, who's your favorite character right now?
Out of all of the students,
just everyone you've interacted with. I know their names are wacky, so you can just use visual descriptions.
I'll tell you what makes me laugh. The ultimate, the geeky one. He's a little heavy set.
Oh, Hifumi, yeah. He's
always scared of everything.
Yeah.
He makes me laugh. I ain't gonna front. I like old girl with the purple hair that was like, look.
Yoko.
Yeah, she was like, look, fam, like, this doesn't make any sense, and it couldn't have been you, because this, that, like, her analytical, and it is one I do not trust. It's this other girl. She's got it's like a black and white kind of. Yeah, I don't like her. Yeah. I don't like the little arrogant dude. There's another little arrogant dude with the yellow hair with the glasses.
He's always got.
I don't like him. He always got something slick to say. I'm like, fam, like, I ain't gonna help you. And I'm like, shut up, fam. Like, I don't like. He get on my nerve. He too arrogant, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then I ain't gonna
just like so in your feelings that you were talking about. I was like, wow,
he got me mad. He got me mad. He always got something smart to say. Yeah. He's very disrespectful.
Yeah. That's my favorite character. I have just a knack for loving these douchey, edgy characters.
I will say though, during the trial, I warmed up on him. During the trial, he was making a lot of pointed, very astute points. And he was all right. I see what you're saying there, and this, that, and the third. But it's good. I'll do the next chapter. We're on the
same page with character taste, so that's good.
That's okay. Good.
That's good.
I'll do the next chapter.
I think if you don't like it at chapter 2, I'd say just drop it. But like chapter 2, I think is like less predictable, more dark. Okay. Because the first one I don't like as much. Just when I say not the game, but the first chapter, is because I thought the trial was very predictable. Like you had it figured out pretty early. Once we got to that chapter 3 falls into that as well for a lot of people. It didn't happen to me, but it happened for a lot of people. They're like, I just knew the answer to it. But I think like 2, 4, and so on are just like really unpredictable, and that's why it gets better because like as the games go on, it sounds sadistic, but they honed their craft in the murder mystery where they made them more and more like complex and tough to figure out and like, really take you on twists and turns. Like, oh, it's that person. It's not that person. I thought we had him.
I like that. The last thing I will say that I do really like is I like the comic book storyboard reenactment portion.
Oh, I thought that's what you wouldn't like. Interesting.
I actually didn't mind that. Like, it was like, okay. This game is very ambitious with storytelling and investigative whodunit. I've never really seen a game do a whodunit really well. So I have to give it its props for that because that's really something you don't see in gaming. So, but doing that, obviously. And then Dio Field. What you call it?
Bodies, more JRPG action.
I know. This is weird.
Here we go. Okay.
So we talked about it on Ultimate. This was one that came out of nowhere. I don't know how I missed it. Turn-based, looks like RTS kind of combo. Good production value, Square Enix game. The demo's out right now on Series X. I fired it up. So first off the bat, the combat system is unique because it does have RTS sensibilities where you can move as a group, and then you have the ability to then individually pick, right? And what I thought was interesting was that they have this cool mechanic where if like basically everyone has like this radar cone of a radius. If you see an enemy, he has a circle and a radius of, an alert if you go in. And when you go into this circle, they'll automatically start fighting, right? And basically the vibe just kind of, I like the way the game started off, at least where the game started you off in the demo. It feel like, this kingdom is unrest, a little upheaval. You see this woman in a horse and carriage. She's being chased by these soldiers. You're like, what's going on? They trying to murder her. You come down with these 3 people. They seem like the heroic, clearly the protagonist. And the abilities seem cool. I got to see how the story going to go. I'm not all the way sold on the story just yet. Like the story, I want to see. But one thing I like about turn-based like this is that I think for turn-based, for us that love it, to go to the next level, is production value. That's why I'll go hard for Gears Tactics, because Gears Tactics has AAA production value with the turn-based, because that's going to make a person that doesn't like turn-based stick in it longer. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. You got the cinematics, you got the narrative, you got hashtag.
Amazing what a couple of camera position changes do for a game.
And a little, camera position and background, like that stuff helps. So this has potential.
Nice.
There's a strategy layer that looks cool. I like when you go inside, there's a little bit of a Fire Emblem level when you're inside a base and you're moving around and you're talking to people. You got a skill tree.
I didn't know that. Cool.
Yes, there's a little. I was like, okay, I like that. The thing for me that is 2 things that is really cool is they have a ambush mechanic. So based on your positioning, so let's say I have 3 of my guys and there's an enemy, I could flank. Like you can move and tell them to move at specific things, stops on the map, so you could avoid obstacles as well as sneak up behind enemies. You can split your parties up. And that ambush mechanic adds a lot to it. Like the skills, flashy, but the thing that I really do like, when you build up this little meter, bro, you got the summon joy. Look like it's connected to the Final Fantasy universe. I see they got Bahamut up in there. I'm like, really? Oh, wow. Bro, Bahamut came out. The summon, I said, and I'm a summon guy. Like Final Fantasy VII summons is one of the greatest things in JRPG history for me. When I first saw a summon, I was like, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. So they look like they got that going. So look, don't know about the story. We'll see. But as a start, I'm interested. I might be day one with it. Nice. And last but not least, Tekken time, baby.
Let's have that Tekken talk.
Tekken time, baby. I missed out. The Tekken 8. Shout out to Harada-san, one of my heroes in gaming. I got the creator of the Tekken series. I got a chance to meet him. Once. That's my guy. So everybody that knows the story, the Mishima feud and stuff like that. And if you beat Tekken 7, you know, it's the Kazuya Hayashi, this time all the marbles, and we know who won. So Tekken at 8, the preview goes down. So I've been in my Tekken bag, sharpening up my skills. They added a new update that just went live. The Xbox Series X version has auto HDR, and it's still 720p, which I don't understand. With the Series X, I mean, with the Scorpio, it should have been upgraded to 1080p. The PlayStation version is 1080p. I don't know what's going on, but a matter of fact, I take it back. Xbox fans complained to Harada, and there was something with Unreal Engine 4 coding wise that they could never fix, and it was weird. So, but at least with auto HDR and quick resume, it looks a little better instead of the Vaseline look on their faces with the 720. Yeah. But yo, this game, man, that's still Tekken is always going to be not only one of my favorite fighting games, just with the systems, the limbs, the counters. Bandai Namco they were my number one publisher for a long time back, because the reason why I love them so much is they were, if I'm correct, the first fighting game not only to have sub-boss secret characters. Mortal Kombat did it, yes, but they had endings for all the characters. I remember that's why I fell in love with PlayStation 1. When I got that, it was arcade perfect, and the arcade didn't have endings. You beat it with Kazuya, you beat it with a sub-boss character. He's got a cinematic, he's got an ending, he's got a story. So that's what I love about it. The only thing 7 did that misstep was they only focused on central characters and Akuma, and the rest of the characters they didn't give endings. So, but I highly advise fire up Tekken fighting game, and 8's coming, so I'm ready.
Yes, sir.
That's what I've been playing.
I'm very excited for more Tekken because I loved 7 a lot. Just as a fighter, I get what you're saying. I never paid attention to the story for Tekken because I hopped in late. I started with Tekken 5, I want to say. So I came in late. But I don't know much about the narrative or the characters or their backstories. But as a fighting game, man, Tekken 6 was the one that I really first got drawn to because I think Lars was his name.
He looked Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. Well, he just caught me in my Naruto era. He just had that energy. He had that move where you just swoop kick someone up in the air. I was like, yeah, that's my guy. That's clearly my guy. So when they built the whole story mode around him. I also loved in Tekken 6 how they did the more adventure mode story where you actually ran around and beat him up levels. I thought that was really cool because I remember, I think Mortal Kombat did that with Shaolin monks, I want to say. And that was awesome too. I wish more fighting games did that instead of repurposing the fighting game system to just fight grunts that you wallop on. I'm like, what if it was a beat 'em up and then the bosses were the fighting game? That's what these games captured. It was awesome, right? For me, not much new to really talk about because a lot of the new stuff I'm playing is currently embargoed. So I am reviewing a couple of games finally. It's my first time diving into a actual review process since April when Skywalker Saga came out, because I've done reviews since then for Switch games on Retro Rebound, but nothing has been delivered to me early, and they're here's the embargo details, what you can and can't say, yada yada yada. So reviewing a couple things, nice to be back in that groove. I've been really itching to do some, but it was a good breakaway, just playing whatever the hell I want in the meantime. But I'm still doing that. I am playing Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I'm about 65 hours in. Jesus. I am in the final chapter now. It is it is about to be done. I have a couple of friends who finished it, and they say the final chapter is about 5-ish hours. So not too far off either, which means if I had a good section of a day, probably this weekend, this bad boy's done this week. And I have really liked it a lot. I got to say, though, they make some questionable narrative choices here. I was big on Xenoblade Chronicles 3 story, but in the last 2 chapters, they've made some choices that I'm just it's not like it gets confusing. It's not like it gets overly complex. It's just that they made decisions that I think strip out the themes of the game so aggressively that it really pissed me off. I was like, what are you guys doing? The whole theme of this game feels meaningless now. So I was very upset with that. But otherwise, this game has been great. Its characters are fantastic. And the combat still has been winning me over. Still very entertaining. All the classes you can change to. So still a highly recommended game, but it's a rare moment where as I'm coasting into the end, I'm like, what are we doing here? 5 chapters of just fucking greatness. And then a really weird series of decisions.
Without spoiling, is it you felt the game was not staying true to itself, it wasn't believable when these decisions were made?
It's hard to talk about without it spoiling.
I know, that's
like,
right.
yeah,
But you just don't like the choices that they did.
It's not even, I don't think they made all of the story decisions they made throughout the whole game were in tune with a particular theme that everything about this game is based around. Literally everything. And they're like betraying it in the last 2 chapters here. And I'm like, not sure how I feel about that. So I'll deliver the final word next week.
Looking forward to it.
I've been playing more Multiverses still. This is continuing to have its hooks in me, and I love this game, man. I am thoroughly addicted to it. Whenever I got some downtime, and in this case, like I'm not reviewing something, or before the reviews when, I was like, all right, I played enough Xenoblade, or I played enough of this. This has become kind of my go-to. It's fun, pick up and play action, but also like because it's 2v2, it's fun getting friends on to play with. But now that they're dropping season 1, they're putting their first big patch out. They're nerfing some characters. They're buffing some characters. As a Harley Quinn main, I'm feeling pretty good about my status in the tier list meter, if you will, because I was there before anything changes with the game where she, might be better than most. But yeah, I've really been enjoying this game a lot. I still think it's got some kinks. Like I think its hit detection online is like weirdly bad. But otherwise, it is a really fun time. I'm excited to get some of the new characters coming out. I have yet to throw money at the game. I'm deciding what I want to do. There's a Harley Quinn skin from the animated series that's calling my name. But I also want to see how the unlock pace goes. And if I want to throw my money at the character tokens where like as updates come out, I'm like, okay, just give me this new character. I just want to play as them. So we'll see. But that's what I've been playing. Nothing crazy new. I'll have more new stuff to talk about next week.
Yeah.
With that, we get into our next set of warm-up questions here. I'm realizing we had a question here about opening night live and Kojima, so I'm going to have to cut this one out. But let's talk with Matt Council. His question is, Dukes, hope you're all doing well this week. My question is, why does Microsoft not space out its high-profile Game Pass games more? Within a 1-week period in October, Game Pass will see the arrival of A Plague Tale Requiem, Persona 5 Royal, Scorn, and High on Life. These are some of the most high-profile games coming to Game Pass for the rest of the year. Obviously, a game can't release before it's ready, but why doesn't Microsoft encourage its partners to push back some of these games a week or two so they can be more strategic with their releases? Inevitably, good games get lost in the shuffle when everything releases all at once. Why does the industry repeatedly insist on blowing its load with a bunch of games releasing all at the same time, and then we're left with months where nothing of note releases? Can't wait to hear y'all's thoughts. Much love. Cog, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on what Matt has to say here. I certainly have some thoughts, but how do you feel about the industry, shotgun blasting a ton of games at once, and particularly Game Pass doing it? And could they have the sway, the stroke to maybe persuade their partners, why don't we wait a couple of weeks and put this out at a different day? What do you think about that?
That's a good question. I mean, I'm definitely agree with the mindset that I hate Xbox in particularly has this pile-on notorious historically. They've always had this like holiday season smorgasbord all at once, all you can eat buffet. And I'm like, fam, what happened at the top of the year? What happened in the summer? Like, let me breathe a little bit. Like, don't throw it all together on my plate at one time. Sure. So I'm with the gamer on that part, right? The question becomes with the third party Game Pass deals. I think they may still be at the mercy only because, remember, it's still coming out on other platforms. So I don't know if Xbox can theoretically say, hey, look, I gave you the bag. We're going to give you the marketing. We're going to really showcase your joint. But we're going to push back, a game that also is multi-platform. Even though you're on Game Pass, you still have to release on other platforms. So that may be it. The Persona 5 Royale, I just think it's a lot of the times like maybe these dates are already set, and it's like, as far as controlling the narrative of a third party, say, hey, push it back. But first party, I think they'll be able to do that. I think we'll see the improvement there. I just think they're at the mercy of when these companies are ready. And let's be honest, it's more to the disadvantage of the third party company to say, yo, we're launching around this game. Like, it's more to their advantage for them to say, hey, let's push it back. We're not ready yet and tell Xbox. So I think it's more so of a control thing, who has it. But I'm with the overall thought process, which is I wish Xbox could space it out if they could.
Yeah.
Space it out a little bit, especially with a year like this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It would have been nice if possible, but
Yeah, certainly they can't control when these games end up being ready, but maybe they could have some sway in the conversation of when they do drop. But I think what we have to consider, like in the case of Persona 5 Royal, like this is a multi-plat drop. Like it's coming out again on PS5. It's going to be out on Switch. It's going to be out on Xbox. It's like, okay, we need to have this day one on Game Pass to bring people to our platform for this game. But I think the reality is when we look at this high-profile launch list in October of A Plague Tale, Requiem, Persona 5 Royal, Scorn, and High on Life, the reality is there's no consistency between all four of these games. They're all vastly different. We're talking a just one style Last of Us inspired game, I would say. You have a big JRPG, one of the biggest that's come out in recent years. A very weird, quirky horror game.
Phallic.
Phallic as well. But short term, 6 to 8 hours is what they're saying. And then we have a quirky first person open world game, right? So all of these games are different. And I think the reason that Xbox does this, in my opinion, is because they serve millions of customers every month, and they need to have a diversity of offerings that serve all these different people, but also give them options to try new things out. So you may have someone who likes first-person shooters, and they're like, well, I'm going to try High on Life. I'm not going to check out Persona 5 Royal. But also, on the offset, Xbox has a bigger chance now of like you maybe just seeing what Persona 5 is, being familiar with that. And both Xbox and the brand that they're bringing into their service benefit from that exposure, that like knowledge of this thing exists. We all have our stories of like, I wouldn't have tried this game if it weren't for Game Pass. So I think that's why they shotgun blasted, that excitement of being in the shopping store with empty bags. How can I fill these up? What can I download onto my hard drive? I do that every now and then. I used to go into Game Pass a lot, but now what I do is like every 2 weeks, every month, maybe I'll hop in there and I'll just download a ton of stuff. And I'll be like, okay, this is what I'm going to play on Game Pass for some time. And you just end up downloading what catches your eye. So I think that's what they're doing here, is just offering a large variety of games. You got to remember, some of these should have already been out. Scorn should have already been out. Persona 5 Royal, I think if Xbox was really pushing hard on, I think, maybe this could have been swayed out a little bit earlier. A Plague Tale Requiem, I think, I want to say maybe got delayed at some point, but I'm not 100% certain on that. But one of these games on this list definitely should have been out last year. That was Scorn. It got a 1 year delay. So we have to also keep that in mind, that when they come to Xbox and say, yeah, we're dropping next year, actually, what's Xbox going to do? Cancel the deal? They lose out on that.
Exactly.
Right?
Good point.
That's how I look at it personally, is that you have a service here that just needs to offer diversity, and that should be their focus above all else. But certainly for us, the hardcore gamer, it's frustrating because all four of these games I'm very interested in playing. Yes, even Scorn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. It's just like when they're all bunched up, so it's like, damn, you got to make that business decision stuff. But yeah, I agree. I think you said it perfectly. It's just a lot of this stuff also was delayed, and it's a lot of things that probably Xbox couldn't control in this particular instance. But with first party, I want them to work on that, especially with 2023, the way the year's looking for them.
Indeed. Next up is Jeremy S., who writes in, hey Dukes, it is clear now more than ever that PlayStation is doubling down on PC, and recent data mines suggest they're even working on their own PlayStation for PC launcher. This makes two of the big three platform holders having fully bent the knee to the PC ecosystem. The last one remaining is Nintendo. Do you think we'll ever see Nintendo take the leap? Will we ever be able to natively explore the Lost Woods as Link, or collect stars as Mario with uncapped frame rates on our ultra-wide monitors? Thanks, and have a I don't want to download ROMs from shady sites, but Nintendo gives me no choice kind of day. I know we're an Xbox podcast, but we're seeing more come to the PC space. PlayStation was quite a surprise here. And I just wanted to throw out this conversation here on the possibility of big Nintendo making their way to the PC platform. I don't think this one ever happens. They play by their own rule book through and through.
You literally said exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. I just can't see it. They beat their own drum. They've been doing things their way. And then here's the thing. Nintendo, to me, strikes me as a company that is very concerned about image and controlling their hardware and software. They're very aggressive, even on YouTube and how their content is perceived. I can't see a scenario where they're going to be comfortable with letting modders run around with Mario and Zelda and doing it. Bruh!
They have cut off YouTubers before for modding, showing off games modded. Beat 'em ups was cut off by Nintendo, because I think he speculated, by the way, this isn't officially confirmed, but he speculated that he showed off modded Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild and they suddenly just flipped the switch on him. So, he had a couple of other theories, but that seemed like the most in line with Nintendo's behavior because they had apparently done that in the past. So this is something that not only do they take offense to, but imagine, let's take Pokemon Legends Arceus. I think this game is great, by the way. It's not great looking, though. Nintendo would be exposing themselves, right? They would be putting themselves in the same basket that I think Sega is in with Sonic, where Sega embraces their modding community, but their modding community, I think, consistently embarrasses the current Sonic output in a lot of ways. I always say Sonic P06 is a fan-made game by one person in the Unity engine, and it is the best feeling Sonic game I've ever played. Like, no exaggeration. I've had plenty of time to digest this, go back to the game. It still holds true. That game feels incredible. But Sega has to just let it be. I think Nintendo is not like that. They got too much swagger in their step. They're like, we're not going to let our fans take Pokemon Legends Arceus, pretty it up, and say, here's what it could have looked like if they took another year or two. Look at, isn't this great? They would be consistently exposed as a publisher and a developer. And like you mentioned, Cog, tying to what you said, that image that they so much love to control would go down the shitter in a second. Because so many people have such brand loyalty to Nintendo. They just see the logo. They see the games they publish. I get it, man. I get the sway, but it is very powerful for a lot of people. And I think they're not aware of what could be sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are aware. I just think they want nothing to do with that. They want nothing to see. They don't want Mario on with no Crocs. Mm-hmm. They don't want to see him altered. And then also, I think their kiddie image, the children image, they want to retain a purity. I think that's part of it as well.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot with them, but yeah, they you said it best. Like, they do not play with their IP at all. Nope. At the minute, you can be a large creator, you could be a huge influencer, and I've seen that DMCA, that joint come down, and they'll get you up out of here, man. Like, they don't play. They don't play.
Absolutely. So I wouldn't expect too much here, Matt, or Jeremy. Sorry, Matt was our first write-in. So thank you for writing in. But with that, let's move on to number 3. Real Radic writes in, hey, Dukes. More set photos have leaked for the Fallout show, and it looks very faithful to the games. Matty is a huge fan of the franchise. Are you excited for this show? Amazon does have quality originals, and I hope that the Fallout show lands in that category. If the show does become successful both critically and commercially, do you think Bethesda and Microsoft would be more willing to greenlight movies and TV shows based on the other IP they own, like Elder Scrolls, Call of Duty, Gears, etc.? Thanks, and have a I listen to French Montana unironically kind of day. Now, we talked a bit about the Fallout show and the set leaks already at the start of our episode here, but I wanted to take a look from your perspective, Cog, at other IP that Bethesda and Xbox own. And do you think if, say, Fallout is successful, if Halo is successful, which they already greenlit a second season for it, so I imagine so, do you think they start going further with this? We know Grounded's getting its own show. It seems to be the industry trend right now, so I imagine it's only to be expected.
Oh, yeah. This is this evolution now with this. Games have already proven to be one of the most dominant forms of entertainment and media, and they are willing to take this thing to the next level. You look at the comments by Phil, you look at the comments by Jim Ryan, they want this thing anything, everywhere and anywhere. So it's like, I could totally see, I was shocked to even hear Grounded was going to have it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, what? Really? Like, okay. Like, it goes to show you. Like, and now what I'm noticing is a lot of the movie studios / Netflix or whatever, they really are respecting source material. We're past the days of like the old school terrible
Dragon
movie
Ball Evolution. Oh yeah.
I remember like a horrible Street Fighter movie with John Damn it. Like, I remember some bad stuff back in the day, but it's like now we're proving like you can really do, like, you look at The Witcher, you look at so many gay things out there that now you're like, okay, this can be done, right? So yeah, I think it's only a matter of time. I could totally see Gears. I could totally see them leveraging franchises. Halo, I mean, as much as I had my issues with it, you know what I mean? There were moments in it that I'm like, okay, that felt like Halo. And then also the fact that it did well. Like, regardless of what there was an audience that wasn't familiar with him, and they definitely, want to know more and want to continue this iteration of what Master Chief is. So yeah, it's only going to grow more and more. And I think both of these companies are going to get into it, especially Microsoft as well.
Yeah, I think Gears of War with Batista kind of writes itself, right? Like just the look at the very least, right? Not the acting ability, but just the look. Yeah. It just feels right.
It makes sense.
All right, let's move on to our fourth question before we get into the news. Full Metal McCoy writes in, "Hey, Daisy Dukes, I am a mere days away from being a proud father to a baby boy. Yes, a real boy, not one of them fake boys who max out your credit cards."
Shots.
I was looking forward to getting back into the Xbox ecosystem for the first time since the 360 era by potentially getting a Series S, but with the young boy on the way, the investment in a new console makes less and less sense. With that said, for someone who is looking to play all the Xbox single-player focused experiences, such as Starfield, could xCloud be the solution? I am hearing glowing reviews from people on its performance, and with a potential streaming puck around the corner, it seems like an easy way in. Also, the streets need a Deus Ex Mankind Divided review video, Matty. Let me know what you think and have a I locked myself out of my house without my cell phone kind of day. Well, we hope you got back in your house, Full Metal McCoy, but Cod, as a man who has a son, do you think that xCloud is the path for you?
Do not have a son. Only a what is this? But like we said, do Xbox, with cloud. I think Full Metal McCoy could give it a shot because I'm hearing, a lot of good things from my people who use cloud almost exclusively. Jess Gordon uses it a lot. He's in Germany, and you hear about the performance to the point where it's not noticeable. Now, I will say this. I do not, when I had this conversation with Chris Raygun, like we both agree, like if you're looking at this to do competitive FPS shooting games and relax, like, cause you're gonna notice something you're on that from if you're a competitive player, you're going to notice a difference. You will be at a disadvantage. I don't think we're there yet. You know what I'm saying? Because such every little millisecond of lag is important and you're trying to minimize that. So, but I will say everything else, man, like, narrative game, single player game, just turn based. Every other genre kind of fits. And surprisingly, I'm still mad when xCloud debuted. Tekken 7 was part of the beta for xCloud, and that's what blew me away because I'm about frame data and that. And I was like, yo, this is 1-to-1, like almost 1-to-1. Like I was very impressed with fighting games on that. So fighting games got the green light for me. But yeah, every genre for the most part, man, unless it's not a competitive multiplayer game, you should be fine. So why not give it a shot? It's out there. You got the browser option. Obviously, the puck's going. You got the obviously the phone option, stuff like that. But I'm hearing good things about the browser stuff. So if you can't afford the console, this is a good way to check it out and still be able to be in the ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely. My green light xCloud moment was playing the show and a timing based batting game, right?
Oh, I never played the show on xCloud.
Yeah. And when it worked really well, I went, oh, wow, okay. Like that felt good. That's nice. So that's definitely something worth looking into. I'd say, this is the first half step, right? Full Metal McCoy. Like what you want to do here is try xCloud, see if it works for you, your connection, your setup, because what I did report, and it's gotten better over time, by the way, but when I had first started using xCloud, my phone was really great. My computer was great, but granted, I have a wire with Fios, so it should be great. My iPad was like really, really spotty. It just
because of that browser integration. It's not native.
It's not native. So, but the same thing goes with the phone. That's why it was weird. The phone worked well, but the phone also had to go through the browser. So keep that in mind. And I would say, give it a shot, see how it works. But remember, Xbox does have the Series S with the All Access program. And if you can get in that way, paying $20 a month until the payment's done, and I don't know how many months it would actually average out to, but that is a cheap way to get in while you're bringing a son into this world, this beautiful world. And, you're not going to blow the bank account, so you can take care of him when he needs new diapers or something like that.
Get a little man for the little man.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So that would be my suggestion. Start off with xCloud, see how it works for you. If it works for you, that's it. That's all there is to it. Microsoft will be happy to have your money that way. But if it doesn't, then there's a way to get it natively. Because I'm imagining if you're thinking about xCloud, then you have to have a good digital setup so downloading games wouldn't be a problem for you. That's how I'm thinking of it. I know some people's internet situations are very different.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's get into our number one story now for the news, Cog. This one I'm very, very excited to get your thoughts on because this has our names written all over it, I feel. The first ever Disney and Marvel Games Showcase has been announced for September 9th at 1 p.m. Pacific Time, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll show off, quote, incredible new content, end quote, from Disney and Pixar games, Marvel games, Lucasfilm games, and 20th Century games. This accounts for games such as Disney Dreamlight Valley, Marvel's Midnight Suns, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, and even a sneak peek at the upcoming ensemble game from Skydance New Media, which is Amy Hennig's game. Let's start off with the first write-in here, Cog, before we really talk about the entire showcase. VRG writes in what I think a lot of our audience may be thinking. Hey, Dukes, what are the chances that we see Machine Games' Indiana Jones game at the Disney conference? Furthermore, what's your level of interest in the Indiana Jones IP? Are you a fan of the movies or some of the games? I personally like both, so I'm excited for this one. But Cog, I mean, do you think Xbox has a presence here? This, Lucasfilm games, Marvel games. All right, we've been calling for Xbox to show out. Do you think they take a shot here and maybe they appear in some way, shape, or form? I know it may seem short notice, but do you feel like it's possible? There was the rumors of the Mandalorian game. We see EA's working on some stuff. We know Xbox and EA are close. I'm trying to give you threads to hold on to here, or am I just daydreaming?
No, maybe. I've upgraded to a maybe. At first it was a no. Yeah, first it was a no because the reason why I was a no initially was because I look at it like, yes, Disney controls, these IPs and stuff like that. But there's a part of me that I know Microsoft would love to showcase these things on, their stage or have some type of control over it on a showcase that they have. What upgraded me a little bit was two things. One, that you said, obviously, the Indiana Jones, we have to know what's going on with that at some point, right? Where do you debut that? And it is tied to that. I mean, it's a big franchise. Obviously, the movie's a classic, funny, and stuff like that. But there's a part of me that says that. There's also a part of me that, what were people who helped out on or helping co-develop Redfall?
Oh, Roundhouse.
Right. And aren't they working?
PvE comic book.
That's why I'm like, let's see what happens. There's a chance that at least at the bare minimum, we get the announcement or a trailer because that one is further along, right? It's a little than what we think. So
if it is going as it was, it started in 2019. I don't know if there were any bumps in the road, but it should be there enough to announce.
Yeah, so that upgraded me to a maybe. There's a chance. I'm going to be tuning. Listen, I am all about this showcase. Like, I was like, what? Like, games of like Disney Evolve, like, come on. Like, I love this type of stuff and, superhero energy. So let's go. So, yeah, I'm excited. This came out left field. I didn't even know about it. I was like, okay, I'm tuning in. I want to see what happens. And obviously, I'm still in mourning about my Midnight Suns.
Yes.
So maybe I get some information to make me feel a little better about the wait.
Well, that's actually one of our questions here, or a bit of speculation within the question. Austin Savard writes in, hey, Dukes, with the Disney conference on September 9th, are you expecting any exclusive announcements heading to the Xbox family? Maybe a Midnight Suns Game Pass deal? Cog, do you think like 2K's open up the wallet? They're looking at the budget for the project and they're going, do we dip into our own bank account or do we take the Game Pass bag and, use that budget now from that deal for the rest of the game? Do you think that's on the table maybe for them over at Firaxis?
I love them, but 2K, they have showed me, look, they're going to get their bag up front first. Like, they just seem notorious with that. Like, they know their games, for the most part, really do well. I think they continue to leverage.
Publisher.
Yeah, they're super common. And I think we even had the head was the CEO on a call with Phil and and what's Game Pass at? That was a joke. Like, what number is there at? Like
35 million.
Yeah, just out there spitballing like he don't know. He know what's going on. So my thing is, Phil and the company will have more leverage once they to get those subscriber numbers up. And once the subscribers them, then they can make the point and say, look, we've got 50 million, we've got 100 million, or whatever it is on Game Pass. It is disadvantageous for you to not be a part of this service. You know what I'm saying? And then here's this back, and then it makes sense. So right now, I think still the big time third parties are not all in yet on the day and date Game Pass yet. So that's why I would say, unfortunately, probably not. You know what I'm saying? In this case, with my beloved, Midnight Suns, but it is a smaller title. So there's a chance, but I just don't see it. Listen, I'd love to be wrong. I love to wake up and be like, yo, this song, what? Let's go. That'd be crazy. What about you?
Yeah, when it comes to Indiana Jones, this has been such a mystery. When you think about it, it was announced at the beginning of last year, February. So it's had enough time to cook. What it was announced as was a very brief teaser trailer, like almost a hiring trailer, like, hey, this is what we're doing if you want to come help us out. I just want to know what's going on with the game, because we need to see Machine Games, I feel, pick a direction. No one knows if it's Wolfenstein next, if it's Indiana Jones next, what's going on with these two. We're getting mixed messaging. So just from the consumer point of view, if they show another trailer for Indiana Jones, that to me would be more, okay, this is where we're going. Like, this is what's next for them. And that will probably be years down the road. But at least we know, like, this is next for them. Another reason why I think Indiana Jones could be there is, the Jez Corden word on the street was this may not be exclusive. So does it need to be at the Xbox Showcase? Does it need to be? Right? They seem willing to bring their IP to other showcases. They're very liberal in that regard. So, why not bring it there? Especially if it's going to be on PlayStation, Switch, maybe, who knows? If that's a possibility, then I could see this game showing up there. But we already know Xbox has their hands in the cookie jar on Disney Dreamlight Valley, that kind of like farming sim Disney game. The game looks good, by the way. I'm actually really excited for that one. So I can't wait to get my hands on that. But otherwise, I'm just crossing my fingers. I'm up and put it out there. I know it's an Xbox show, but I got to put it out there. In some world, Jason Schreier is a fraud. And we get that KOTOR remake gameplay, man. This is in some alternate dimension. This game did not go off the rails development-wise. There was no reports that it was going south, and this was the moment right here. What it was reported as, I remember Embracer Group on the phone, they put the word out. They said, we're going to show off gameplay in a couple months. This was when it was going to happen. I have no doubts that this is when it was going to happen.
Okay, I see the theory.
And so I'm sitting here like, yo, God, if you can hear me right now, it's me. I just got a favor. I got a favor, man. Make Jason Schreier a fraud tonight. Make him a fraud tonight. That's all I'm asking right now.
So please let the reporting be incorrect.
Yeah, let it be wrong. Just once. He's got a great track record. Love his work. But you know what? Just one crack in the armor. That's all.
That's all you need.
That's all I need here. Let this be the alternate dimension. That's it. End of prayer. Okay. Thank you. Otherwise, though, I would love to see a little more Xbox involvement in these brands, but it just feels like, I don't know. I don't want to hype myself up too much, Cog, at the end of the day. I usually get hyped for these things. I'm looking forward to the showcase in general, but like on the Xbox perspective, I'm just like, I don't know. Like, it could go either way. But I just feel like if they had these, let's say the Mandalorian rumor ended up being true, right? Which I deduced like that's likely not true. But let's say it ended up being true. That's something you would probably want to pull the trigger on at your own showcase, right? That seems like the big booming announcement. When you look at what filled up the middle part of the show that you and I were highly critical of in June, I look at that and I'm like, you squeeze a Mandalorian in there, like suddenly that problem probably is non-existent. Just shoots the showcase up.
The roof. But
we've seen Xbox handle their IP in strange ways where there are showcases nearby. So it's possible they're there, but this could also be kind of underwhelming, where a lot of the games they showed off in the trailer were Skywalker Saga, Midnight Suns, which I do love or am excited about, but they just may be updates of things we already know about. And Amy Hennig's game, I don't think is super far along where, we can expect to see a ton of that. So they called it an ensemble game, though. I don't know if you have any theories on what that may be.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just thinking about all the Star Wars games that got announced were kind of in development as well, right? Wasn't the Quantic Dream joint?
Yes.
Obviously the Jedi Fallen Order sequel.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things here. There's a lot of things that they could do, but I'm with you. I'm very gun shy on the Xbox specific presence here. That's what I want to see.
Indeed. So for those looking forward to tuning in again, September 9th, 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Eastern time. I'm planning on streaming it. I'm looking forward to this because Star Wars, Marvel. I mean, dude, say less. I'm there.
Say less.
Maybe they do a remaster of Toy Story 3 while they're at it. Just really treat me, even though it's back and back.
Oh, that's what you need.
Yeah.
That's the game. That's the game of the
that's
game
a real
generation.
That'd be a real pick me up.
Woo! Yeah, that's definitely a blessing for you right there. That happened.
Yes, sir. Next, I wanted to keep this in line with all these big IP seemingly getting partnership announcements. We talked about Marvel, Star Wars. Let's talk about Middle Earth. Private Division has announced that a new Middle Earth game is in development in partnership with, and I apologize if I don't say this name right because they have like accents all over their name. Weta Workshop, I believe, or Weta. I'm not 100% sure, but anyway, they're going to be working on this game. They put this in a press release, which I'm going to read right now. They write, Private Division, a publishing label of Take-Two Interactive, today announced that they have signed a new publishing agreement with Weta Workshop, best known for their work on Middle Earth for the Lord of the Rings film trilogy. In 2014, Weta Workshop founded a interactive game division and are now developing a new game set in the Middle Earth universe of J.R.R. Tolkien. Middle Earth Enterprises have licensed the literary works of the series, providing Weta Workshop with the broadest creative license to interpret the underlying lore of the books. And then the rest of this is, we're thrilled to partner with so-and-so. So it's nothing really that important. But all they say afterwards is this title is in early development and does not yet have an announced release date. It is expected to launch during Take-Two's fiscal year 2024. Private Division and Weta Workshop look forward to sharing more details about this game in the future. Now, last week talked about Middle Earth on this show, Cog, because it was a big talking point for us. A lot of people were asking if Xbox would get involved. There were reports that the film and game rights for Lord of the Rings was being sold off, for Middle Earth in general. Lord of the Rings, Hobbit, so on and so forth, was being sold off at about $2 billion. Afterwards, Warner Bros. Had stepped in and tried to shut it down, saying, we've had it for 2 decades. We don't really have any plans to get rid of it. But that was just on the film side of things. They didn't talk about the game side of things. So I don't know if that's still up for bid or not, but that was the last we spoke about it. I'm surprised that we don't see a lot of Middle Earth games. I know we're seeing that Gollum game, but for the popularity of this franchise, I am always continuously shocked that this isn't a place that like video games really rooted themselves in, because there's so much room to explore. There's so much rich lore there. We did get the fantastic Middle Earth Shadow of games, Shadow of Mordor, Shadow of War. Love those games. I shouldn't say love games because I've only played Mordor. I've played a little bit of War, but I like what I have played of it. Post all of its patches, its removal of microtransactions. I had the benefit of that, trust me. But I'm surprised that we don't see more, turn-based stuff here, more tactics games here, more exploration of it. So, Cog, how do you feel about Weta Workshop taking the reins of a brand new Middle Earth game? We don't know much about it, and we don't know much about this team. They were working on the movies, and they made a whole game division in 2014. Now they're making a game here in 2022. So, any thoughts on this?
I think it's got potential because, based on their history, obviously the closeness, the alignments with the film, it's a big IP, but also Private Division. I've got some relationships over there, and they usually put their name behind stuff that they believe in. And whatever conceptually is going on with this, they've seen and they got a good feel. And I remember before, people don't realize, before, Microsoft acquired Obsidian, Outer Worlds was Private Division. I had to deal with Private Division. That was who dealt with them. And I remember I was like, yo, y'all got one. Y'all got one with this. I like this. You know what I'm saying? And the relationship was always good. So yeah, they've always associated themselves, I felt, with a lot of titles on the radar. So I got my eye on this as a quality game to look out for. They usually are very good. People have that knack of picking, good talent, good concepts and stuff like that. Yeah, give me another Lord of the Rings type game. Yeah, come on, let's go. Like, I love that lore. I love that stuff. So let's go. I want to see what they do with it, a new take on it. Obviously, the Shadow War game, Shadow Mordor game is classic. The Nemesis system, one of the best new introduction kind of systems in gaming. I felt at the time. I want to see more of that kind of stuff. So yeah, let's see what we can do.
Absolutely, yeah, and Private Division just published Rollerdrome, which looks really cool as well. So I just to support what you said, like they do put their name behind some pretty good games.
They was on Obsidian before Microsoft came into the picture. They was like, yo, them games, we like those. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Indeed. So keep an eye out on that one. We also had a write-in here from Captain Bon Clay that I would just like to read. Howdy Dukes. So Private Division, the publishers of Outer Worlds and Ollie Ollie World, have teamed up with Weta Workshop, who apparently did VFX work for much of the Peter Jackson Lord of the Rings movies, to make a game set in the Middle-earth universe. What kind of game would you like to see? Also, if you remember early this year, it was reported that the game and movie rights to Tolkien's work were up for sale for $2 billion. What do you think happened to that sale, which we talked about a little bit, but Cog, what kind of game do you want to see here in Middle Earth, right? We got the open world stuff with what I believe it was Monolith did for the Middle Earth series. But what do you think is going to be up next with them? Like, what are you hoping to see, rather?
Man, so many, they could go different directions with it. I think probably people will probably be most excited if it was probably like a open world type game, I guess. I'm cool for a variant, though. I'm cool for something different, not necessarily have to be locked into that genre. I don't know if the masses would feel. I think the masses would go crazy if they did something in lieu of. I look at Hogwarts Legacy, and I just go, man, that's a nice usage of the IP. Hashtag just one energy. I mean, if they hashtag just one with it. And which I don't know what to go do, the Legolas game. Like it's so many things you could do. You know what I mean? I'm very curious. You got the Hobbits, you have, you know what I'm saying? Like there's so much. The potential is endless. If I'm a betting man, I'm gonna probably go with that type of energy with a hashtag just one and really just have a very focused storyline on specific characters or a specific time. And they could go that route. But I say all that, if they went, listen, I'm team turn-based. If they went another direction, but as long as it got that nice story and cinematic flair, like the IP is enough for people to be really excited about. So I'm gonna go with the third-person overworld vibe and see what happens. But what do you lead? What do you want though? That's my question. Like, what do you want?
They have a turn-based game since Third Age. Which is a game I'm planning on playing probably this month. And Third Age looks awesome. It looks like literally Final Fantasy X, but Lord of the Rings. And I'm surprised they haven't tried to do that. I think a Fire Emblem style game would work really well for Lord of the Rings. I just think turn-based fits this universe a lot. I also think this sort of like thriller, maybe almost horror game would work really well when I think of the Wraiths, the Nazgul, the, what happens when you put on the ring and just like the change of environment. I just think how it manipulates your mind.
Go dark with it.
Could kind of have a Dead Space energy to it, right? Where like when you're walking around the monoliths or you're hearing whispers in your head. Like I just think they could make something very Hellblade 1 like with Lord of the Rings, which, really does involve that psychological struggle. So I think that could be another cool opportunity for them, but I'm just excited to see more in this universe that's not Gollum.
Yo, you said it. I was just about to tease you. I was like, nah, you want that Gollum co-op game. That's what you want.
Nope. Can't even say it facetiously. I don't want it to be clipped.
Precious.
There's a lot of things I've said on this show, but you know what? I don't want that clip. That I want that game. No.
Matty hates the Precious.
I do. I hate that thing, man. I can't say it.
I love that you hate him. I think it's the funniest thing ever.
Makes my fucking skin crawl looking at him. I'm just like, God, man.
Schmiegel.
Yeah, what's wrong with you? It just sounds. I don't even want to get into it.
I love it. I love to hear you just go off on that character.
His name just sounds gross, and I don't want to get into what it sounds like. But yeah, it's just. I'll let everyone use their imagination.
Fair enough. No Schmiegel for Matty.
Said it again, man. Number 3. This one I'm very excited about. Avatar: The Last Airbender has experienced quite the resurgence over the last couple of years as various clips of the show continue to be passed around online. Avatar is no stranger to video games, but this most recent leak depicts a far different style of game from its predecessors. Over on Amazon Japan, Avatar: The Quest for Balance has slipped between the cracks and is reportedly arriving November 8th, according to the retailer. It is said to be coming from Game Mill Entertainment, who has worked on the bulk of Nickelodeon games such as All-Star Brawl, Cobra Kai Kid, sorry, that's a tongue twister, and Nickelodeon Kart Racers. It was only February of this year where website Avatar News reported that a Avatar console RPG was in development and would soon be arriving much closer than we had expected. So, Cog, I know we talked a bit about Avatar on this show, how you had not really been exposed to this. And a lot of people held my feet to the fire when you started talking about like it was anime, when it wasn't, saying like, Matty, you got to set them right in those moments there. So I let you drown. I'm giving you an opportunity to redeem yourself here. How you feel about Avatar as a video game, maybe based off if Game Mill is to be publishing it or developing it, their past work with, the Nickelodeon games I had mentioned.
They got to do it in a genre that looks, like they really took the time and the effort to make it something that's interesting. Like, I just don't want slapping the IP in something and just saying, yep, we got this character. We know you like them. Here you go, kind of thing. And that's what I want to see. I want to see a quality title. What's the one we just saw that looked like it was straight up Dragon Quest?
And I was like, One Piece Odyssey.
Bro, that looked fire. I was like, okay, now you got my interest. Like, I want to see stuff like that. I want to see it really take it serious. I want to see something that if I didn't even know it was an anime, I'm like, yo, this looks cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, the gameplay looks cool. Something I want to do. I want to involve it. Then that's going to make me care about, okay, now I won't have to watch the show because what is going on? And I'm asking Matty, I'm asking Attic, like, yo, what did this person do? I like this guy. That's what I want. The game is going to you got to win me over. I'm the casual, don't know. So you got to win. That game has to look good and play well and do some interesting mechanics to win me over. But that's it. I mean, I'm not going to be, I'll be open-minded because I want to see what it looks like first.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I have more faith in Game Mill than others. I was reading like Reddit and whatnot. I know Reddit's like not a positive place at all. So that's just saying. But I was reading some of the posts when they saw, Game Mill might be behind this. And people were like, oh boy, here we go. I don't think I have some type of favoritism towards them. But when I think of their publishing work for the Nickelodeon Kart Racer series, which they did a really good job with. I know the first one wasn't great, but the second one was considered widely very good. Then I look at All-Star Brawl, which I think its biggest flaw was it was missing the voices, and they continued to stick with the game. They added the voices in, they've added DLC in, but I think at its core formula, like the maps, the characters, the modes, I thought it was a really fun game. Got the platinum for it. So to me, like, I was very excited to see Game Mill behind it because I'm like, to me, are they like the sexy developer and publisher? No, but last time Avatar, or technically Korra, had that, it was Platinum Games. Platinum Games also had TMNT. Like, trust me, like, I have more love for TMNT than Avatar. I know what it's like to see the sexy dev get into your favorite franchise and then let you down. So to me, I've been down this road before. I don't think it needs to be the sexy dev. I think it needs to be someone who gets the IP. And what Game Mill has shown me over time is that they have a pretty good grip of things here with their Nickelodeon IP, and that they should be the trusted hand with this for the time being. I will say they're going a bit all over the place. A kart racer, a Smash style game, a console RPG. I'm hoping they find a groove and a style of game and kind of take IP and specialize in something and bring that Nickelodeon IP to the next level with it, like a SpongeBob role-playing game, for example. I know that sounds whack, but tell me that would not be cool as shit. I would be all over that. We'll talk about SpongeBob in a little bit, but I'm about what Game Mill's doing lately. Again, the report is November 8th, which would be very, very soon. I don't know if that'll end up being true, but we'll see. And this is not the mobile game, by the way. Don't cross this up. Square Enix announced an Avatar mobile game. That is not this one here.
Okay, good.
Different one.
Cool.
So we will see whenever they decide to announce it. Let's move on to number 4. So the day we recorded our show, this showcase had happened. So it's time to recap it. We're going to be talking about the THQ Nordic Showcase. That was about, I think, 40-ish minutes long. And they had let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 games, one of them being just a teaser, but 14 games shown off. It was a pretty meaty show, and I thought it was a good one. So we'll kind of go down the list here and just give our general thoughts. Cog, what do you think about a reimagining of Alone in the Dark?
It's funny. I got first of all, for full disclosure, I missed the showcase.
Yeah, I saw it afterwards as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to lean on you for a lot here, but I was a huge Alone in the Dark fan. Alone in the Dark was an IP that back in the day, it was unique in the sense that horror wasn't really done like that back in the day. It was very twisted. It was very crazy. You had the investigative aspect of it, and it kind of scared you back in the day. It kind of was a little twisted, you know what I'm saying? So I am very curious. I'm looking at this joint right now. This is interesting to me because this is also a very storied IP. Like, I want to see how, look, I'm telling you right now, it does look good. It does. I'm liking what I'm seeing. It looks cool. I like the exploration part. I like the main character. Got the third person over the shoulder energy. It looks solid. I mean, graphically, it could be a little better, but it looks solid right now.
Right.
So I'm willing to give it a shot and reimagining of one of my. This is an OG game. I remember this from way back in the days of the 3D. It would be interesting to see their spin on the horror genre. So yes, Alone in the Dark has my attention.
Yeah, same here. I thought it actually looked pretty good. So I'm excited to see that. You could see that they maybe took some cues from Resident Evil, which was totally awesome. So I was absolutely about that. Pretty good surprise there. Next thing they showed off was coming out very soon, Destroy All Humans 2 Reprobe. It's coming out August 30th for PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. Any excitement for this one?
Yeah, this is a class. It's just a hilarious romp. You gotta have fun with
the
this.
Destroy All Humans games. I never played the second one, so I was pretty excited to see that.
Yeah, and shout out to Attic. I remember saw last E3 together. We actually played the last one when it first was announced, and I was just watching him do all type of evil stuff, and it's just hilarious. So yeah, this looks fun.
Yeah, you can really have some fun with the open world. It's very sandboxy in nature. So that's coming out again August 30th, and it'll be available for $40, so discounted price, which is nice. Space for Sale is up next. This seems just sort of like, the name kind of tells you what it is. It's a game where you literally explore planets, you buy properties, you build them up, and people live in them. So I don't know if Cog, you have a particular itch for this procedurally generated game. PC only, by the way.
Yeah, it looks kind of like over the top, No Man's Sky, but it's not getting me for some reason. I don't know why. It's just not getting for me right now. But I gotta learn more about it. Right now, I'm not all the way sold on it. It literally looks like top down No Man's Sky.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. So that's Space for Sale. This one I was pleased to see on an official level. Gothic 1 remake. Now there's a story behind this, and I'm a little proud of myself on this. I'm not going to stroke my ego too much here. But in 2019, I made a video called Gothic. I think it was like the RPG no one's talking about. And what I did was I highlighted that there's a demo out. THQ had just got the rights for the Gothic franchise, which I think has about 3 entries. And no one was talking about that because what they did was something very rare. They made a little bit of a demo, a playable demo, kind of like a teaser of here's what we're thinking. What do you think? And they said if it got enough downloads and enough attention on it, then they would proceed to actually make the full remake and account for feedback. So what people said in the comments was there was a bunch of people who played the demo and they had actually taken that feedback into account. But the reason why I say I'm kind of happy about things is the video I made, let's see if I can bring it up right now. Let's take 2 seconds. Is at 250K views. And so I was really happy with that because that's some serious reach. And that game was not being spoken about at all. It was just oh, hey, they have a demo, but not the ramifications of the demo experience. And hey, you can actually shape this thing and put input into it, feedback into it, and not only determine if it's going to continue on, but what it'll end up looking like. And from what I studied from the first Gothic, this looks pretty good. So this is an RPG in the 90s. It was a bit of a fly-through trailer, but I don't know if you have any history with this game at all, but I was pleased to see it here on an official capacity.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. I like what I'm seeing right now. The exploration aspect, the light source, see what the torch is going. Them spiders look crazy. Spiders look crazy. I don't want no people, no problems with them spiders. But no, it looks cool. It looks cool. I have no problem. It's so interesting to me to see how much THQ actually has. Like that's
yeah, they got their
to me.
hands on some IP, man.
Mhm.
All right, next up on the list is Jagged Alliance 3. Now, Cog, this is the stretch of the showcase when I was going over it that I was thinking about you a little bit.
I'm looking at it right now.
Strategy game,
Yeah.
XCOM vibes. There's a lot of
Yeah.
RTS here. Yeah, I felt like this one you may actually lets you create, manage a squad of mercenaries, tactical strategic gameplay. It's coming to PC. It's apparently the first new entry of this series in over 14 years.
Ooh.
So you like what you see with this one?
Yeah, I'm feeling it. This is me.
Nice.
And I'm liking the environments. It's very kind of, you got the outdoors. It's giving me wasteland vibes, but a little bit of also my Phantom Doctrine. It looks cool. It looks cool. I like what I see. It looks like 5 people
yes
in a squad. So big squad play. Very environmental. I'm seeing different levels of elevation as well, which I like. And I like the camera angles. There's a unique camera angles on the turn base that gets me into it. I'm feeling you called this 100% me.
This looks great. I'm very excited.
Yeah, this is definitely a cog. Jagged. I got my eye on you. Yes.
Nice. Next, I don't know if you like RTS much, but the Valiant. It lets you control an army of crusaders. It has a co-op mode as well, so a second player can join you. This is an RTS coming to consoles, by the way. It's not PC only. A lot of these games they showed off were PC only, like the one we were just talking about, Jagged Alliance, was PC only. The Valiant is actually PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So again, a new type of RTS coming around the bend.
Yeah, typical RTS. Nothing going crazy for me right now. But yeah, I've put a gun in my head. I'm always going to take turn-based over vintage or classic RTS. But it looks fine. You know what I'm saying? It's nothing. I just need to learn more about it. It's nothing right now standing out for some reason for me right now. Like to make me go, I'll play this over age. Oh, wait, hold on. I like cinematics. I like cinematics. There's this little joint, little cinematic joint where they walking up to each other, a group of soldiers and stuff like that. Okay. They got the little pillage tag. Okay. Heating up a little bit now. Now heating up. Graphics still kind of
it's kind of like the THQ special, isn't it?
THQ, kind of, But I'm willing to learn a little bit more now.
Okay.
At first, I was like, you're kind of generic, but willing to learn a little bit more.
Nice. Next up on the list, we've got Knights of Honor 2 Sovereign. This is another, kingdom builder style game, PC only. Looks pretty solid in my opinion, but nothing super original.
Yeah, they go hard with RTS. I will say that. One thing about THQ, they go hard. I think they got what you call it too. What's the joint? Iron Harvest that we reviewed and stuff like that. So clearly, I'm thinking these games must be doing well in a specific region. Yeah. This one actually looks a little bit more polished than the last one. The one, what was it? Was it Valiant we were talking about?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, they got the scale in the. I love when you can scale the wall and pillage a castle.
Yes.
That's something for. I like that. It looks okay. It looks okay again, but the engine's a little. Still certain parts, but this one looks more polished than the other one.
Sure. Next up is Outcast 2: A New Beginning. So I read about this one, and apparently this game also came out in the 90s, and decades later, it is getting a sequel. So that's one thing I do respect that THQ is doing, is they're just like reviving everything right now. I really like that they're creating their identity around like, we'll take your IP and then we will give it love and attention. It's not like we're just going to hoard IP. Like, we're going to bring them back, even if they're super obscure. People haven't heard of them for years. We're going to make them relevant. So Outcast 2 shows up. This game's got like jetpack open world elements. It's got some pretty cool looking third person gameplay with guns and abilities. The player's dashing around. He's bouncing off walls. He's slamming the ground. It doesn't look silky smooth. They didn't give it a release date. They just said it's slated for PS5, the series consoles, and PC. But I thought this one actually looked pretty solid.
Yeah, it's I like the shield thing he's doing, and then the flying and the glider. The concepts are really unique in the space. It looks like you could do a lot in this sandbox. This is the vibe I'm getting. And it looks like, again, the theme I'm noticing a lot of AA graphical energy.
Yeah.
But this is a lot of cool in-game concept, like him using that shield thing, the barrier, using the environment, the switching from the third person over the shoulder.
The graphics every day if it feels good, right?
Yeah, and that's why it's winning me over now. So now it has my attention because I was like, I like what they're doing in this world.
Yeah, this next one I'm very, very pleased to see. Recreation. It's an open world racer from the creators of Burnout. Now, I'm not a racing game fan, but if anything I've gone on record of saying on this show, I loved Burnout growing up, man. Just they had like these more bombastic, arcadey crashes and races. Always loved Burnout. So they're making an open world game here. It definitely looks like it needs some more time in the oven, but it has that PlayStation 2 energy that I think this last generation or so has been desperately missing. You know, I love that the medium has evolved into this more artistic, creative vision, but I think we forget to just sometimes make games for fun. I know it's all about the vision, right? So people aren't envisioning just making wacky stuff, but I'm happy to see games like this exist. You know, I loved Cruisin' Blast on the Switch when it came out, I think last year. That was a pleasant surprise because I love the Cruisin' series. This looks like another great arcade racer in an open world, however. So I was really, really happy to see it. Because again, I want more of these PS2 style games where they're like very experimental in nature and they're very fun focused. I love my stories. I'm very much a narrative first kind of guy. I love RPGs for a reason, but I was very happy to see this game, especially knowing who's behind it.
Yeah, this thing looks wild. So much going on. Why they got a regular van though? Like I love how they got a regular van with the like, and they got construction vehicles. They don't care. They just have fun. This is just to really get crazy with it. But I hope they have the destruction aspect of it.
Absolutely. Next up, Way of the Hunter. This is coming out August 16th. By the time you're listening, it'll already be out. Open world hunting game. I don't have much to say about this. I love animals, so I can't. I don't know.
Can't get your murder on.
Can't.
Baby can't get it.
My friends make fun of me. They wanted to play this game on Game Pass. I was like, I looked it up. I was like, oh, this is pretty open. I saw like you shot a deer. I was like, no, bro, no, I'm fine. Okay. Nah. I can beat up bad dudes for days. I can rave about these dark Danganronpa games, but I just can't handle Hunter. Way of the Hunter, where the hell it's called. Call of the Wild.
Yeah. This is one of them purist type joints. Like, I can see it. Probably not for me, but it don't look that bad, honestly.
Next up, they showcased a trailer that leaked through Xbox last week. We already talked about it, but just to make sure we are keeping on the up and up, AEW Fight Forever still set to launch this year. One of the worst trailers I've seen this year for sure. I just rewatched it and I was like, oh, this is so awkward. Just show off the game, but they're trying to get Britt Baker involved. They're trying to get Tony Schiavone involved and just make it this like it had, because on Retro Rebound, we look up old trailers for games and companies and use them to bring people back in time. Like that's one of our visions for the channel. So I've been watching all year a ton of early 2000s commercials. This has that energy and not in a good way. It's like, oh, this is kind of just like awkward and the game didn't look that great. It didn't really convey the vision. I've talked about this game up and down. I need to lay my hands on it because I do believe it could be fun. But this trailer was just not good. But it's going to be playable at Gamescom, which is solidifying that like, yeah, it's good to go. Like they're going to put it out, provided the feedback from Gamescom isn't aggressively negative.
Right. Yeah, I got to see. But I agree with you. The trailer's kind of wonky. Shout out to Schiavone. He's still outside. Though. I haven't seen him in a minute. It's a legend in the game for wrestling. Look, I'll give it a shot. But I agree with you. I don't think the trailer sold it yet. Like I don't think it did it any justice. I agree. They're now doing baseball, get mini games and lotto chips. And is it arcade? Are we gonna get the fun wrestling also, the serious kind of wrestling as well? So I don't know yet. I gotta see.
They go really arcadey with it. I think it could be great. Just they need to start showing the stuff that matters to us, which is the roster and the modes. Like that's what defines these things. Like they're giving too many sneak peeks for a game that's apparently like 3-4 months out, possibly less, depending on when they want to release it. So we'll see, man. But all I'm gonna say is I'm gonna be all over this game for reviews. Like I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be sniffing out THQ context, and be like, hey, You guys got that AEW Fight Forever?
Yeah, they're good.
Follow-up email. Hey, just want to make sure you got my last email. Anything on AEW Fight Forever for review purposes?
Let's go.
This next game looks really interesting. Stuntfest World Tour coming to PC later this year. You're a character that can turn into cars, turn into all sorts of vehicles. You fly through this open world. Very janky animations, but like the concept it captures me quite a bit. Very wild and out there, highly destructible. But for some reason, the animation is very like stop motion films in this trailer. But then there are other parts where it's silky smooth. I don't know if you like what you're seeing, Cog, but I personally did like watching a car go off a ramp, turn into a person, and then they like use a wing glider to like fly to the next destination, then turn into a car. It kind of takes what I've seen in a lot of these, like I think Steep tried to do it, where you'll have a race for skiing and a race for snowboarding and a race for hang gliding. I think Shredder's tried it too. And this game's what if one character was all of those at once? And so the races are very dynamic. So I was kind of keen about what I saw here.
Mm-hmm. For some reason, I'm not there yet. It's just
very jittery.
Little rough.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? He got cleaned it up a little bit, okay. Then we'll see.
You got to be about this one. If you're not, we got to find a new host. SpongeBob SquarePants, The Cosmic Shake. No release date yet, but bro, this game literally looks like a modern Battle for Bikini Bottom. I couldn't believe it. This is one of my most anticipated games. I couldn't believe it. You know, when they revived it with the remake, I was like, okay, awesome. I was happy with that. To see, and you know, originally the modern take on Battle for Bikini Bottom was Squidward's a clown in this, bro. I love it. But the modern take for Battle for Bikini Bottom was Truth or Square. That game was awesome too, but no one talks about it. So now THQ got everyone's attention, and they're like, "Here's Cosmic Shake, like this full-on, brand new, high production value SpongeBob game." I am pumped, man. This game looks great. It's giving me Sly Cooper Thieves and Times energy, right? Like that's a game I love because it took the formula Sly Cooper, brought it to the PS3. It said, let's open up the environments. Let's open up the collectibles. Just give them more of the same stuff with some new gameplay elements. That's exactly what I saw here. And I think Sly Thieves and Times is fantastic. So I saw this. I was like, hats off to THQ. They got one here. This is a just one for me.
It looks fun. It looks fun. I cannot front.
Yes, sir.
These genres generally are not me, but I have to admit, this looks fun.
Is there like an ego to it? Like if you were like, man, I'm a grown man playing a SpongeBob game.
Because I'm old. Yeah. I'm old. Like, I feel like I doing that. Like I feel like I'm a creep on the playground. Like I can't. You know what I'm saying? Like it just is not a good look for me. Now, like if I had a real son, then I could have an excuse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Let's do it. But it's like
I gotta hit a play. I gotta figure this out. I gotta secure my future for sure. I gotta make sure these games are still on the dock.
Exactly. You gotta have the legit. See, King gets away with it because I'm like, yeah, that was for my son. I was like, yeah, your son, you rock, man. Your son ain't playing. I looked at his game attack, his son's game attack when he was really playing.
You sniped him out. Okay.
Yeah, no, because some really like, not to put his business out, some really likes Fortnite and stuff like that. And that they rock. But there's other games that I'm like, King, that was for the son. This one. Yeah. And this other one. And I'm like, but King don't care. King ain't got no shame in the game. He plays whatever he wants to play. He has fun with it.
All right. Last game of the showcase was just a teaser for a new South Park game. This has been passed around quite a bit when you really think about it. We got one from Obsidian, we got one from Ubisoft, and now we're getting one from THQ Nordic. So what do you feel about more South Park coming around? They don't say what it is. Like it was an RPG both times, but I thought the first two South Park games we got were fantastic. Yeah. So I am hyped to see more, but how do you feel about getting more from THQ this time around?
Yeah, anything with that IP is gonna go well. It's gonna move. You know what I mean? So it's just a matter of just living up to the quality of those other two entries. But yeah, that's Prince itself. So you got to go back to the well on that one. Easy.
Yeah,
easy.
I agree. This has got to be a turn-based RPG. I mean, they've done RTS for everything else, all these strategy games. So
tons.
Yeah, certainly they got to figure one out like that for South Park. But looking forward to more of that. Number 5 now. Delays, and more delays. Indeed, you're not imagining it. The games industry has suffered a staggering 47 delays this year, and this week we have more. Hogwarts Legacy has been delayed to February 10th, 2023. Evil West has been delayed from its September launch to November 22, 2022. Deliver Us to Mars has been pushed back to February 2023. Metal Slug's Tactics joins the plethora of games coming out in 2023, as does Nightingale's early access program. It's possible by this time you are listening that even more delays will have landed. Von is our next write-in. Well, Dukes, I called it last week. As much as it sucks, we'll be seeing Hogwarts Legacy in 2023. Deliver Us to Mars has joined that too. Matty, be careful. You said you're excited for High on Life, and the delays are outside. I'm feeling good about this one. They're showing it off at Gamescom again. It's got to be coming out. There's no doubts. Von writes, 2022 is going to be a barren year. I got to pause. I don't like that you were very. You know something, don't you? You were very.
I'm just saying. I'm being petty. Oh. This is like my baby got taken. Yeah. No sources on this one. No sources on this. I didn't hear anything about highlight. This is just for the record.
If I would have told you. You were too like.
I would have told you. I would have told you if I would have known. So I'd have told you. It's just I'm being so messy because I'm like. He about to get his game. and just keep getting snatched off the boards. Yeah. Like,
if this game gets delayed, I literally have Sonic Frontiers. That's it. I have Sonic Frontiers.
I'm in that petty stage where I want everyone to wallow in my misery. And I don't get my games.
I've been there. Starfield and KOTOR remake in the same year.
Yeah.
You want to talk about the left hook and the right hook? I got knocked out. Out of the race.
Midnight Suns and then Evil West. Those literally like 1 and 2 for me outside of Starfield. And I'm just like, damn, 2022, not like this.
Continues to take from us. Von continues on. 2022 is going to be a barren year for games despite its exciting opening. Meanwhile, 2023 is overstuffed. Many good games look to launch in 2023, which makes me wonder who will get the short straw. Think back to 2010, where Red Dead Redemption captured the zeitgeist while Alan Wake fell under the radar. Obviously, as we know now, it took a while for them to do a sequel. What 2023 games do you predict will be overlooked due to an already stacked year? This is interesting because I know it's hard to predict from the outside looking in, but it's definitely going to happen, right? Some games are just going to be trampled upon. We saw a big game like Horizon was successful, but we know some of that success was nipped in the butt thanks to the Elden Ring zeitgeist. So, Cog, do you see any games in 2023 that you're worried about? Like even your Marvel Midnight Suns? Because that was one that I thought about right away. I was like, that's the one that I felt like it had its pocket in the holiday. But I look at it now and I'm like, man, you're going to have to make some calls for what's a pretty good looking game. And people are already talking about the card system and that being messy. And I'm just like, I think it still looks amazing, by the way, but I could see the social scuttlebutt getting to it in a time where it needs a lot of support.
You literally stole one. That's what I was going to say. Yep. That was what I was going to say, because I'm just like, it had an uphill battle already with a lot of guys that are MCU guys, and they're like, nah, fam, turn-based and cards, I'm good, right? So now they're like, I'm out. I don't want nothing to do with it. So at least if it would have dropped this year with the great drought of 2022, it kind of forces your hand and like, all right, now let me at least check it out. Let me see what's going on. And then it would get more attention when it does release because the proximity of everything else is pretty much far. But now you throw this joint in 2023 with so much around it. You have to be so strategic that this thing doesn't get buried. And then we still got the big first party Xbox joints that still got to come out. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though we and you are not the biggest Forza Motorsport guys, that's coming. Right? You don't really necessarily, I mean, you could survive because it's technically a new genre, but I just worry that they're just sharing the spotlight with one of these big AAA games, to me, is dangerous proximity energy. That I would love it if it was somehow, let's say January and nothing else, that the landscape was clear and you could just plop that bad boy in and just go. But I am nervous for Midnight Suns a little bit. They have to be very strategic about their release.
100%. You know, Cog, I got to be real with you, though. If there's a game I'm worried about, it pains me to say, but I'm very worried about my Battle Network. I just feel like, we're already putting out feelers for people care about the Mega Man franchise. Like this game, I'm so excited it's real. I'm so excited it was announced, but I feel like this was one that they should have kept in the back pocket. So when they announced it, it's like, and it's coming soon. Like get the impulsive purchases in nice and early. Not to sound pro corp here, but just
Mm-hmm.
I know I can see a future where Capcom looks at it and says, all right, just no one's interested in this. And it's like, not when you're in the pocket of a bunch of AAA games, they're not going to be. Because even I'm going to buy it. I'm definitely going to play it. But like, even I know that's the game because it's a collection, 6 full RPGs. It's like, yeah, I'll probably backseat it after a certain point while I'm going through the series because like I'm going to have other stuff to play that's more pressing for my job. I just feel like that's another game that's 100% going to suffer because of the delays.
Yeah, I mean, it very well could be. This 2023, listen, I do not envy any of these studios. It's going to be warfare because it's like there's so many good games. Where do you place all of these?
Mm-hmm.
Then we still got Starfield,
Indies,
Redfall, and Indies.
Replaced Ravenlock. These are big ones that look really great. That showed out at the showcase. Some highlights there. Not replaced, but anyway, these are games that we were all really looking forward to and still are looking forward to, but they are going to have a lot of trouble fighting. It's why I feel very fortunate that, our game that we're working on is still a ways off because I'm looking at their release schedule and I'm like, if I was an indie game releasing in 2023, I would be very afraid. Not even if you had something good, because that's what's happening is it's a battle of what looks really good. The problem here is everything that's coming out in 2023 looks really good because they were supposed to be a lot of 2022 games that would like help lift up the year. But now it's going to be heavy hitter after heavy hitter. Whether they all land or not is yet to be seen. But I would be very nervous as an indie developer right now and be buddying up with Game Pass to get some players in. For sure.
Bro,
they're going to feast.
Read my mind again. Yeah, you read my mind again because it's like if you're the indie game that's not in Game Pass, man, it's going to be tough for you out here with all this stuff that's about to come, right? And then we didn't even talk about the Activision Blizzard King deal potentially finalizing, and then you get that influx of all those. Bro, you could get lost to the sauce quick.
Yeah, because just the Game Pass games, right? Just on their own, just adding stuff to the service takes you away from that new release.
And let's just say you announce your game release date, and that happened to be the month when the deal get finalized.
Yes. You announce your date and then someone else announces their date. Like it could be that simple. You announce your date the same day Starfield announces their date. It's just like under the radar it goes. It's tough.
That's why I do respect the guys that be like, I like the guys that don't sugarcoat. And they be like, well, let's say when a big boy come outside and it's on their day, we decided to move our title. And then I like the ones that joke about it, due to circumstances, cyberpunk or whatever. Like I kind of like that because it's like, yo, eat the humble pie, move.
Yes.
Move
absolutely.
Your date, bro.
Right. Live to fight another day.
Let your get. Don't get into that ego. We come in anyway. Move because a lot of people, bro, they're not going to survive when certain titles hit.
Absolutely. We got another write in here, kind of on the topic of indies from Panopticon, who writes, "Hello, they got one cog and manga Matty. Day one listener, first time writing in. Congrats. Thank you so much for joining our Patreon and whatnot. With the delay of more games in Midnight Suns and Hogwarts Legacy, it's apparent that this is a down year for big budget projects after a strong start with Elden Ring, Horizon, etc. However, I'd like to offer a different perspective. Indie and AAA or AA gaming is as good as it's ever been. There have been some bangers this year with Shredder's Revenge, As Dusk Falls, and Cult of the Lamb, with possibly the best yet to come in Evil West, A Plague Tale Requiem, High on Life, and Callisto Protocol. Do you guys agree, or am I struggling with copium? Have an immaculate day." Very kind of you to say. I think there's some truth to this statement, yeah?
Panopticon, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. Yeah, I think indie games, man, that's where my heart's at, right? Like that's what's really been keeping me alive. I know Matty don't like my Trek to Yomi, but I'm riding hard for that. As Dusk Falls was the sleeper for me. There's a ton of stuff. Look, Obsidian still got releases there. I mean, I know they're not the big sexy.
You're calling Pentiment out, huh?
I'm just saying.
Rounded full release game of the year.
I'm just saying we clowning, but when them joints drop, let's see. You know what I'm saying? Because one thing I know about them, they've made me believers when I've doubted them. So hey, Obsidian's outside, Pentiment's outside, Grounded's outside. I want to see what's going on. The indie scene, man, it's tremendous. And this year, was it Death's Door, Tunic? The list goes on. There has been some really quality indie joints, and for me, I've been eating. So when people, the good part about this, I'm gonna be honest, is like one, your backlog. Your backlog is crazy. So you get to go, I get to play Day around. I get to do, you know what I'm saying? I get to do stuff. So it's like that. And then the indies, when they come through, I'm invested, man. Trek to Yomi I really liked that game. I really had a lot of fun with it. So I'm looking forward to it. There's a couple more on my radar that really, really looks cool. And speaking of which, started to see some stuff that's going to be announced at PAX. I see some indies. One I could talk about. That what is it? Planet of Lana.
Day one game.
Oh, keep your eye. There's a couple of I seen it. I could at least say I seen about 5 games right now. When I'm going about to head out there, that I cannot wait to cover. Because I'm like, yo, these looks really cool. Yeah. So indie scene for sure.
I think if you're indie this year, you're doing excellent. If you're indie next
this
year,
the year to drop.
Yeah. Indie next year, I don't know. Good luck. But we'll be here to support you, lift you up, and I'm certain that Game Pass will be too.
Lift you
No,
up.
I'm not saying that disrespectfully. Like, I'm being serious. Like, we celebrate indies a lot on this show. You know, most of our interviews have been with indie developers. You know, they lift us up for sure. Like,
for sure.
I've gone on in the past. Like, you know, we've reached out to the big names, and they either, and I say this with no resent, by the way, like choose Colin, or they will just not interview with us at all. But the indies have always been there for us, so we're there for them.
Sure. Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Number 6, last bit of news here, coming soon to Xbox Game Pass and what's leaving. Right now, you can get your hands on Coffee Talk on console, PC, and cloud. Midnight Fight Express, you want to talk about hot-looking indie games. Console, PC, cloud, August 23rd. Keep your eye on that one. Exapunk's PC Game Pass, August 25th. Opus, Echo of Star Song, Full Bloom Edition, console and PC Game Pass, August 25th. Then we move to August 30th, where we get Commandos 3 HD Remaster on console, PC, and cloud. Immortality on the series consoles and PC as well as cloud. And last but not least, we get Immortals Phoenix Rising, console, PC, cloud. Again, August 30th. Then, I'm sorry, this is also August 30th. Tinykin, console and PC. Then what's leaving? And the list admittedly is longer for what's leaving than what's coming to the service. So let's discuss. Elite Dangerous, leaving console and PC Game Pass. Hades, this is a big one, leaving console, PC, and cloud.
Big one.
Myst, leaving console, PC, cloud. NBA 2K22, console and cloud.
Big one.
Signs of the Sojourner, console, PC, cloud. Spiritfarer feels like it's been there forever if you have yet to play it. I'm sorry. It's been there forever, though. Console, PC, cloud, leaving Game Pass. 12 minutes. Console, PC, cloud. This one's an okay swap because we got the newest one. 2 Point Hospital.
Right.
Leaves console, PC, and cloud, but 2 Point Campus just came out.
Yes.
Funny that Ben just picked this one last week for our Game Pass pick of the week. What Remains of Edith Finch, leaving console, PC, and cloud. And another great one, World War Z, leaving console, PC, cloud. So, Cog, a lot of additions, even more subtractions. What do you think about what's coming and what's leaving?
Yeah, it's just interesting to me, the leaving part, because I always like to see how to me, that tells me a lot structurally how deals are made and the length of contract.
Long,
Right. So to me, it showed, because Hades, I felt like was a shorter life than a lot of the rest on that list. So I think it goes to the higher profile of the game. And again, I'm just guessing, you know what I'm saying? That maybe, you know, it's just a certain amount of time they could keep those in the bag, probably get substantially big, because Hades was a huge get for Game Pass, and I highly recommend those to get on that if they have not played it. As far as coming in, I'm on all about that Midnight Fight Express. I gotta see what's going on. Gotta see what get my beat 'em up fix. And Immortal Phoenix Rising, that's a good, you know, it's a decent, solid, you know, addition. So yeah, they got some joints. What about you? You ready for that coffee talk?
Oh yeah. Of course. I mean, what I'm noticing with some of the deal structure is like Hades was a year because that came in August, and I think 12 minutes was just over a year as well. So something with their indies. What's interesting though is 12 minutes was PC and Xbox for a while, right? And normally we saw that with like Death's Door. That was like 3 months and it left the platform. There was another one I'm struggling to remember now. I think it was The Ascent. The Ascent left the platform pretty quickly. It was 6 months. So all these deals are very different. There's no consistency, but it seems like
good point
that Hades and 12 minutes were in the same pocket.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. I think those are ones that kind of made more bets on, you know what I mean? As far, especially, remember they had a lot of marketing behind 12 minutes.
Yeah.
They gave it a lot of love.
They did. For me, what I'm excited about, though, I mean, I played Immortals Phoenix Rising. I think this is a great Game Pass game to give kind of a flyer on. I thought as a brand new IP, I said in my review, it didn't really differentiate itself enough from what Ubisoft typically does. Like, you couldn't gameplay structure-wise tell the difference between this, Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Watch Dogs. Like, they all are in this same vein. So I was very critical of the game. A lot of people said it's like this new thing that, Ubisoft's finally done it. They've reinvented the wheel. I don't know what they're talking about. I mean that with all due respect. I genuinely don't know what people saw with this game that I didn't. The only thing I saw was a couple more puzzles, but the gameplay was straight out of Assassin's Creed. The beat for beat open world stuff was everything you've seen in previous Ubisoft games, but the art style is new. And that to me was the most new part of it all. It's still fun, pretty, and if you haven't played a Ubisoft game in a while, this may scratch a particular itch. So keep an eye out on that one. But the game cog that I am big on, Midnight Fight Express, bro. When this game was showing off for the first time, I was like, this looks amazing. And now it's really snuck up on us. I'm like, wait, that's a couple days from now. So I am very, very, very pumped to get my hands on this one. Comes from one, I believe, Polish developer. And that is awesome. This game looks really high quality. Gives me that Sifu energy of like 1 versus 100 type energy. I'm all about what they're doing here. So
love that stuff.
Cannot
wait.
It
looks so cool. I love the art style. And it reminds me, there's an old school beat 'em up back in the day that I used to play that has give me some little similar. It's this game called Renegade, and it's just something about it. But this is just visceral. Then you got the vehicles on the boats and on the thing. This looks cool. Like there is something about it, man. I'm hyped for that. I'm so glad you put me onto this as far as like it being coming to Game Pass very soon.
Yes.
I love this art style. It's capturing me, and the animation looks very good.
Work looks really good.
Really good.
Yeah, so very, very pumped to lay my hands on that one, see what it's all about. Expect me to be talking about that next week. All right. Anything you want to add, or shall we move into our Game Pass pick of the week?
Let's move into that pick of the week.
All right. So I handled it this time around. Y'all know I've been kind of in a fighting game groove as of lately. So I picked out another one, one that I've dabbled in thanks to Game Pass in the past. So I said, let me give this another try. Not because I didn't like it, but I downloaded it, played it, and never came back to it. I played Power Rangers Battle for the Grid.
Okay.
And if I could make a comparison to a more known fighter, I would say it's like Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Like it's kind of got that MVC energy. Like the frames are very snappy. But I was really reminiscing on Power Rangers a lot this weekend because when I was at the Game Expo in Long Island, I saw Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, the SNES beat 'em up game. And I was like, I used to love Power Rangers growing up, man. I loved them. Like the Red Ranger special where all of them combined. Like that was a moment, dude. You want to talk about your Avengers level crossover? Like that was mine growing up. All the Red Rangers together. And I was thinking about the video games, Time Force, Lightspeed Rescue. And this one was like such a gem that I think about the best beat 'em ups growing up that I played. One was, of course, Turtles in Time, but this was on that list. Like I thought this was an amazing game. And not a lot of people talk about it. So I was thinking, I should have bought it, but I don't have an SNES. So I was trying to be in control. It was only $25, but I was like, do I need this cartridge? Like, what's it going to do for me right now? So I decided to hold off. And I downloaded Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. And, they've done a really great job supporting this game with new characters. They've added story modes, arcade modes. Are they fully fleshed out? No. It's kind of got the Killer Instinct treatment, though. When I played Killer Instinct back in 2013 for the first time when the Xbox One launched, I remember getting my hands on and like feeling a really good core, but it needed modes. And then I came back a couple of years later and they added everything you could have imagined and more. And that's what it feels like here. Like they've really done a good job cleaning things up, building around the skeleton. I thought it was good at launch, but now it's really in I would say, a great state. It's a very competitive fighter for a lot of people, but I think it's also an accessible one. You build teams of 3 and you can cross over all these Power Ranger universes. So to me, it was, a Power Ranger itch that needed scratching, but also just appreciating another good fighting game on Game Pass that has been floating around for a while. This was here when I think I got my Series X back in 2020.
Oh, wow.
So this has been on the service for a while. I would take advantage of it while it's here because we talked about a lot of games that are leaving that were there forever. Like Spiritfarer is one I feel like I don't remember that not being there. Again, that's another game I want to throw out there, is a title that I feel like was on Game Pass when I got my Series X. So some of these games float around for a while. Take advantage while this one's here. I think you may find a surprisingly good fighter with a lot of cool modes, a lot of unlockables. So I just wanted to put some love on Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. It was nice to return to this one for sure.
Dope. Yeah, it looks cool. I'm not gonna lie. It actually looks cool. It definitely MVC vibes. You got the 3-on-3. They really seem really cool to the characters, like true to the characters. See that White Ranger getting it in. Okay. Yeah, it looks cool. I care for it.
Absolutely. So available on Game Pass. Please do give it a look. Not usually my narrative pick or anything like that. You know what's so funny is I thought about doing As Dusk Falls again. I was like, oh man, I just want to talk about it again, right? Like, it's such a great game, but I know you picked it, and I think you picked it again.
And then I think we had Red for so it's like, yeah. So we were like, they were like, oh, they've been paid off.
Yeah. That, or those are like, wow, there's so many games to pick from. Why are they picking the same game a bunch of times? It's because it's great. But yeah, I wanted to shout this one out especially because I thought that there's not enough love for it.
Yeah, we need this for the FGC, man. More fighting games, man. I'm all about the fighting games for sure.
So with that, we enter our final questions for the episode. We're making really good time this episode, which is very uncharacteristic.
Stick for us.
Yeah. So let's keep going. Zach Bryce writes in, hey, fellas. I remember in the past, Cog said he got his name from Shinobi. Just wondering, Matty, do you have any nostalgic things that you do that are similar? Fable being my favorite game, naturally my gamer tag is Chicken Chaser. And I occasionally get one person in game lobbies that says the line from the game. Worth it. Also, I'm in Cog's Destiny clan, loving it, but I haven't been playing that much. Forgive me, Lord. So, Cog, I'd like you to, first handle the punishment if you must.
Yeah, look, he gets a pass because it was nothing going on for the past 2 weeks, but Bungie just made some announcements today, Arc 3.0, and this is what happens. The new season's about to start, and then everybody comes out the woodwork, and Cog takes attendance, and I look.
You check the roster.
Who's
showing up for practice?
We're 100 full all the time. And then people drop off towards the end, and then people are like, hey, I want to get back in. So if your attendance ain't up to snuff, I highly recommend it. We usually have like a 2-month, 3-month rule. I look at your login status, and if you're not there, you might get booted. So make sure you log in.
You remind me of, I want to say it was Kobe Bryant who was like, telling people to meet him at the gym at 6 a.m. And when they showed up, he was already sweating and playing. He's like, I got here at 4. And he was just that type of player. I feel like you're giving that type of energy for your Destiny clan.
I do.
Be there at 4.
Sure. Be there at 4, fam, because you don't want to get left out. I'm telling you right now, it fills up. Every time a new season starts, everybody gets the hype again. And I'm like, bro, it's too late. You should have been in the gym. So what about you with these names? And you got Chicken Chaser, which is the Fable reference. What any nostalgic Matty things?
No, not really, actually. No, I think back to all my gamer tags, and I was first XX Fallen Lord XX. My dad, I'm Christian, by the way, so there's no problem here. But like, my dad was like, "No, you cannot do that." I was like in middle school. He's like, "You cannot be Fallen Lord." So he paid for a gamer tag exchange. I was like, "Damn." So I think I used my brother's gamer tag for a while, which is like Leave Nothing. Which I'm like, this is the same edgy energy, Dad. Like, come on now. But I rocked that for a while, and then I was like in high school, so I was playing a lot of competitive Call of Duty. So I flipped around clan names a ton. Like you take those simple words and you like sound them out as if you're looking at like the pronunciation in a dictionary. So I remember I was like, instead of fragile, I was like, Fragile is what people would call me. Because it would be like FRAHGILEEE. Like that type of gamer tag energy. The type of stuff I see now in a lobby, I'm like, you're such a sweat, bro. Like, I was you one day. I know what your mentality is. Let it go.
I get.
So yeah, I rocked those types of gamer tags for a while. I used to love changing my gamer tag, man. That was an event. Like when you changed your gamer tag and you showed up to the Xbox Live party, it's like you walked in with a new suit and you like tugged the suit coat a bit. You're like, "What's up, gents? How you doing tonight?" So you like joined the party. They're like, "Yo, who's that? Oh, Matt, it's a sick gamer tag." It was your
really. I have to change them like that.
Yeah, it was the vibe. Yeah, that was
okay.
So walking in with a new gamer tag change. Like I gotta know if the audience who's listening right now. Please write in if you had a friend group where that was like a movement, right? Like it was a talk. Here's like what I'm thinking. You provide the list. You go over it with the council. Like,
with the council?
You leave the party, you rejoin because it doesn't. If you change your gamer tag, it doesn't update in real time. So you leave the party, you come back. Sup, boys? This is me. This is the new me. So you got a whole new feel for your So the one I settled on is it's Matty here, which I just wanted to have my name in it. That's how it is. But I've thought about changing it. I'm like, what would I make it? So otherwise, my online alias, I just put my name in.
Yeah. I was just about to say that the G27 status.
Oh, yeah. That's so this goes back to Glitcher27, my first ever YouTube channel. I think I told this story on DDU with Jimmy. I'll just tell it again though. I did Call of Duty glitching videos for most of middle school when I was playing the game a lot. So that was just my name. Like I don't think there was much meaning between the numbers other than my friends and I were originally working on the channel. When you added them all up, it just came out to 27. But Glitcher27 was that channel name. Got taken down by the big bad Yes Network, home of the Yankees, because I was an idiot and posted Derek Jeter's 2000th career hit on the channel. Did not know in my young age of 13, I think it was about, copyright laws. Yeah, of course. Nowadays it's like never touch that. But I'm thinking like I'm just sharing this hit. I remember thinking like this will do good views. It did. That's why Yes Network took it down. So that channel got struck. I wouldn't have been able to make money off of it. So my mindset was like, well, fuck that. Like I'm not going to do that. Yeah. So I made a new channel, G27 Status, carrying over the Glitcher27 username. And that one was again starting off with Call of Duty. I did competitive tips and tricks videos though. You can't find any videos on there because I was an idiot. I deleted them all for some reason, except one video. One video you can find is me telling people, go subscribe to Mr. Matty Plays. So if you ever look up G27 Status, Mr. Matty Plays, it should come up, I think. And you'll hear me like telling people, go sub, check it out. Because eventually got tired of COD. This was around my junior year of high school. And that's where I moved on to Mr. Matty Plays. Here we are now. But yeah, that's why my handle on Twitter is still G27 Status, because I could have changed it to something more brand friendly, but I think that type of bullshit has sort of faded out. It's like, just be you. And for me, that's me. Like that keeps me sort of not like grounded, like I need it, but it reminds me of like where I came from every time I see my handle. Like I didn't buy this handle on Twitter and it's like just at Matty. Like, ooh, I'm such a vibe online. It's like, no, I was at G27 Status. This is who I was back in middle school. That's where I started, and here I am now. So to me, it's always a reminder of the journey, and that's why I keep it as is. So there's no like, I'm the shinobi. I love that story, but for me, it's just more like, the journey. It defines my journey.
I respect it. I see the old joint there. Yeah.
Oh, you do? Yeah. I wonder what I sound like. I haven't seen that video in a while.
Okay. That's what's up. Yeah. No, I respect it. What's funny is I never knew about the gamer tag switch up vibe. That's something I never heard before. Wasn't a big
deal for you? Did you just rock the same gamer tag for years?
I think for us it was more with me because I was an alpha tester. I wanted that day because a lot of people always wanted Cognito. I would see that. But
yeah, you got one. You were able to settle.
Yeah, I was lucky, so I just said I'm keeping this. Like, hey, never. Because I remember when people like Attic gets pissed. Like there's another Lord Attic that's like inactive. He can't get it. Like he tried to go to Microsoft and be like, yo, this joint is inactive. Could you delete that person so I can have the true drink without a number in it? Like he hates that.
I'll admit, I did a similar thing with Twitter because someone has the Mr. Matty Plays Twitter account. I'm like, well, I just want it like liberated, but someone's just holding it down with a deleted account. Like I'm just like, yo, like I send it to Twitter and they're like, no, we can't do anything about it. I'm like, it literally is dead for 8 years now. Yeah.
Yes. Ridiculous. Same things. Poor Addict. Same thing. So for us, it was because I'm thinking like 360 era. It was all about the gamer pick. And it was like, the dudes, because 360 had the pick. So we used to judge people, who coming in there with that. Like, I used to have one
of like the monkey or whatever. You're like, come on, bro. Go buy one.
For me, like, I was the Oblivion one for a long time. You were the night.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You remember that one with the 360? Yo, it told you a lot. And then I remember it told you a lot about a person, bro. Like you judge the person, because you know who I ain't like, and I don't care if I'm shamed. I ain't like you dudes with the little hat with the bubble gum.
Yeah.
The dude with the blowing the bubble gum with the dark with the
about someone.
Yeah, like I ain't like none of them bubblegum chewing 360 avatar dudes. There was always a problem in multiplayer match.
What do you think about people who used screenshots of their avatar? That was me for a while because I got the Ranger shirt. I got a
that was fire.
A TMNT beanie. I was like, that's me, bro.
Yeah.
I was like, that's all.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Because you had confidence to put just yourself out there, and people using the 360 camera and doing fun stuff. Beware. Uno After Dark, though, was dangerous.
Wait, what is that?
You ain't know about 360 Uno era?
No, a lot of people in high school played Uno, though. I was not.
Bro, let me tell you, and all my OGs who had a 360, and that little camera came out. The camera adapter, the 360 camera, it was this small.
Oh, no.
Bro, you would be playing Uno. That camera would come on, and the things you would see after dark was wild. People were doing their own Uno going on in that. You would see it was scoring phallic things. It was other things happening. I was like, yo, Uno is wild. Uno became a subculture in itself.
No.
All my OGs, y'all know I'm not lying. Y'all know if y'all played Uno or 360 back in the day, it was a wild time.
I'm looking at people in high school differently who were all about the Uno grind. Now I know why. They were just like,
that's why.
They were invested.
After 10 o'clock, boy, you don't know what you gonna find in there. So that was that. But I was getting back to the point with the pictures was I remember I had switched to there was the Rainbow Six. That's when Rainbow Six Vegas. I used to love Vegas. And one of my favorite modes was Terrorist Hunt. And you used to go in there and you used to have to find all the terrorists. It was a PvE mode. I think it was co-op, I think. It was so much. And it was hard, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, and they had a little soldier with the V. I was like, he looked like me a little bit. He had the little Ghost Recon / Ubisoft kind of look. And I remember rocking that for a while.
You're the guy with the oh my God, he had like the face paint on and stuff, right? Or I'm trying to remember.
Not that one. He had I think he had spec goggles. It was a black guy, spec goggles, military hat.
So you
military,
helmet. You ever pay for one? I paid for the Spider-Man. I paid for the Marvel pack, to get Spider-Man.
I may have paid. You know me. I may have paid for something. I know I paid for something. I just can't remember it off top. But the 360, listen, the game, that was an era. It told you a lot about the person. So that was it. That was our thing at that time.
100%. So, okay. So you had the gamer picks. I had the gamer tags.
You had the gamer tags. Okay.
All right. G Schools is up next. Greetings, the almighty Dukes. We all know that health is wealth, but emotional health is an important part of that. As men, it's okay to talk and show emotion. Thank you for that. So on that note, what game left you feeling emotional? For me, and this is huge props and a thank you to COG. A long time ago, COG's Game Pass pick was Lost Words Beyond the Page. After COG's game description, I thought I'd give it a go, as I lost both my grands within the last 10 years, and I was incredibly close to both of them. This game nearly broke me. What an incredible emotional journey. It brought back some happy and sad memories, but I'm glad I played it. Also, Matty, just wanted to say you're doing the right thing with working. Like you guys, I run my own business, and the best decision I ever made was stop working 7 days a week. Stick to your days and hours and continue to make that time for yourself and others. They appreciate it more than you think. Hope you both have a great day. I completely agree with that, by the way. I'm looking to dial back a little bit more because I'm still working pretty close to 6 days a week, and it just creeps in easily.
It creeps on, bro. So hard to get caught up and get out of it and to pull yourself away. Yeah. Shout out to G Schools, man. This is good. So first of all, salute to actually trying Lost Words. I thought that was a very emotional journey, so I'm glad someone checked it out, and I definitely respect what you're going through. And sometimes games do that, man. I'm trying to think for me. Oh, man. I remember when a game really messed with me emotionally. So this is, I'm a Sega kid, and everyone had Nintendo. I had Sega Master System, right? They had NES, I had Master System. And they had Zelda, which was cool, right? I was like, oh, my God, that's cool. And we had Phantasy Star, right? Phantasy Star 1. Phantasy Star 1 didn't have any what I would consider seriously emotional beats, but it was, it was a good story, a fun little story. But Phantasy Star 2 came out. Genesis, huge 6 mega card. Now, you got to remember, at this time, JRPGs are foreign to the West, right? Yeah. This is the first, and I didn't even know it was a JRPG. I didn't know what it was. I remember when I bought the cartridge, it came, the cartridge was $80. $80 because it had a battery in it.
Like 2022 energy.
Bro, back then, right? Think about back then it being $80. So
curious.
6 mega cartridge. It came with a tip booklet because they were so worried that American audiences wouldn't understand JRPGs that we got to give you some tips and strategies on how turn-based works and what this is. Like, bro, Phantasy Star 2 is one of my GOATs, and it doesn't get enough credit for it. This is before the Final Fantasy. Now, Dragon Quest was going on, but it wasn't in America yet. But over here, while these guys are doing Zelda, and yeah, you're playing a nice, bro, I'm talking about like scientific, planet control, monsters and all these dark themes. And I'm just like, yo, what is going on with this game? And there was a moment. So basically, the story of it, in a sense, because it wasn't a direct sequel to 2, it was generations after 2.
Okay.
Basically, the story of it is you're this main character who's a descendant of the original character, Alice. His name was Rolf, right? And then you met this character. One of your initial campaigns is this cool, genetically hybrid character called Nay, right? And Nay was like one of my favorite party members. And this is a young cog, very young. I'm playing a JRPG. The music is phenomenal. I'm learning about turn-based. I'm learning about magic. I'm like, oh my God, the dungeons were hard as hell. I'm like, damn. And this is my first time when you play you play a JRPG, you walk a couple of steps and then it's a battle.
Yep.
And then sometimes you're so weak, I'm like, damn, I got to get back to the town. Like those type of JRPGs. Yeah. Anyway, progress in the game. So you get to this part and you go deep in the dungeon and you encounter a character because they're like, you got to find out who's messing with the weather systems, what's going on. Somebody's doing something, creating all these monsters on the world, whatever. So you go there and there's another character. That name was Nay first. It's like, I am the original Nay. I was genetically created. Nay separated from me. And then your character, Nay, who you've been with through the whole game for the most part, jumps out and was like, yes, I broke away. I didn't like the evil things you're doing. Gets into the one-on-one battle. This is Aerith energy before Aerith. So Cog watching my beloved Nay character go one-on-one. So I'm like, yeah, and I'm putting it all, and Lay gets slain. So I'm like, huh? Now, mind you, there's another caveat. This is where the game is evil. Because after, she dies, and then there's a cinematic. And I'm like, and it's like, Nay, we gonna avenge you, right? So I'm like, oh no, they killed. So I'm into it. And this boss was hard. Nay first was hard. So I'm like, yo, and the music playing, I'm sitting there. I got to do this for Nay. I got this. So we beat Nay first, right?
Right.
So then the game, again, because it's the future and everything's about cloning and stuff like that, if someone in your party dies, Matty, you go to the clone labs and you bring the character back. So when you beat Nay first, you take Nay and you go back to the town. It automatically happens through like a cinema, but automatically happens. You go to the clone labs and they say, no, I'm sorry, because, she's not a full human. We have no genetic material to revive your friend. I'm sorry. People lose people all the time. And just, you have to bury your friend.
Oh.
Wow. What? This thing wrecked kids at this time, right? Wow. It's so bad that there's a mod that came out later where people figured out how to try to keep Nay alive for the rest of the day. Because at that point, yeah, you can't bring Nay back. And that was the first time a game told a story that I cared about a character. I was emotionally invested, and the stakes were real. There was no happy ending. And that game goes crazy. There's more stuff that goes into that game. It was very challenging, but it's one of the greatest RPGs, best music. Phantasy Star 2, out of the series, 2, you can make the argument, is the best. 4 also, 1 is great for what it is, but Phantasy Star 2, amazing game. That broke me.
I'm looking now, and it's funny. It says 110-page hint book included. It's like, that's unheard of, I feel.
They were so scared because of the price point, and JRPGs didn't exist at the time in America. And Sega took a big risk with that game, but it's a cult following and people love it. Yeah. I need to know, what's your emotion joint?
I was thinking while you were talking, because when I saw this, I sometimes I'll pick certain questions that I don't have an answer planned, but I'll pick it for you. I'm like, I want to hear Cog's answer for this. I'm sure his will be interesting, and I know I'll have an answer. So while you were talking, I was thinking about what got me emotional growing up. And I've talked a lot about more recent ones like Persona 5 Royal, which like just shook my core for 4 days straight. Like I always remember that, like 4 days of just out of body experience, right? It was very odd for me. I was like, what? Okay, like it's a game, man. Like, 1 day is enough. Day 4, I'm like, still feeling that. But if I were to go back to my childhood of a game that really made me feel things I didn't know was possible, Kingdom Hearts 2. Got to admit. I may be a little sour on Kingdom Hearts now because I think it gets a little wild, but I'm trying to like reconnect with the series, regain that love. There's a lot of moments that go into it. I think it's where I truly learned how to appreciate music in games, because sometimes there wasn't like context to why you should feel a certain way, but the music's just so beautiful it overtakes you.
Same thing.
So I think that was my introduction to like what great moving video game music does. But like I think the moment that always gets me, still to this day, I'll cry over it now, but like still makes me go like, pound your chest. Like, oh my God, man, that hurts. Is
tell me your Nate story
at the end. Yeah, Nate story. My Nate story is, you go through the beginning in Kingdom Hearts 2. You're playing as Roxas the whole time, right?
Okay.
You find Sora, he's asleep, and you learn Roxas is Sora's nobody. This is where like the Kingdom Hearts lore gets a little confusing, but the point being is that for Sora to wake up and complete his mission because it is his destiny, Roxas must go away effectively and embrace himself as a nobody. So the friends he had were a lie. The life he had that you were experiencing all in the beginning of the game was a lie. And so, the iconic line from that moment is when he says, I guess my summer vacation is over. And he's looking at Sora because they were on summer vacation the whole beginning of the game. So you're doing errands and what feels like fetch quests. But what happens is like, then it delivers this impactful, powerful moment where you're like, oh man, like there goes Roxas, right?
Yeah.
But what always gets me is after the fact, they have this joyous moment, like after all this sadness, like Sora's reuniting with Donald and Goofy, and they're like having a good time. The happy music's playing, and I'm not happy. I'm like, it's like, what about Roxas? I'm like, they don't even know he exists. They don't. No one knows he exists. And this is where they get you with like, this is where Kingdom Hearts storytelling is fucking good, because the way they get you is you walk into the train station and you see all of Roxas's old friends because you bumped into them, you helped them out, and so they're helping you out. And before you go, they're like, don't we know you from somewhere? Because they see Roxas in him, but they don't know Roxas anymore. He's not existent. And Sora's like, no. And as he's saying goodbye, he's waving to them, and suddenly he starts to cry. But he like doesn't know why. Like he wipes the tear off. He's like, I'm fine. It wasn't like that typical JRPG, like, oh, it's nothing, I'm fine. It was more like, I don't know why that just happened. I'm doing fine though. And you realize that was Roxas because he's a part of Sora. That was Roxas crying because he saw his friends. And you're like, I remember seeing that and just putting that together as a kid. I was like, thinking about him. I was like, man, he just doesn't exist to anyone, right? And
that's deep.
Right, it is. And like that's where Kingdom Hearts storytelling is good. The problem with it is, not to get off the beaten path here, but like they kept reinventing that formula over and over, creating characters of characters of characters and trying to like thread them all back. And it works sometimes, but like that was to me like the OG nobody versus your original version moment where I was like, that hurts, man. And there he goes, because it's all spent building up throughout an intro where like things seem great, but like also wrong. Like the world will freeze around him and he'll look around and he'll see like, just a hooded figure standing there. He's like, who are you? And then the world will like return back to normal. And they're like, who are you talking to? It's just,
wow. It's like just out of existence type. I get it. And
it was like, that was to me very powerful. So if I were to like put my finger on like an emotional moment as a kid, Kingdom Hearts 2 is just like, it is an emotional journey for sure.
Yeah, no, I get it. And just to agree with you, the point that you made a fantastic point about music and the tone that it sets when these scenes happen. And you feel it as a kid, like, okay, something's different. What's going on here? And yeah, same thing with me, like with the finale, with the Nate thing, the music change. And one thing that really actually got me more emotional than the actual death itself is the Avenge fight, because the Avenge fight has such an emotional, inspirational music. Like, we got to do this for Nate.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the boss was tough. You lost a couple times. But I remember when I beat, I was like, it was for Nate. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I felt that, bro. Like, you get, that's when you know the storytelling's good. when you connect with that character and and in your case, that sounds crazy. Like this person's dead, they're like out of existence, but they like that's deep. That's deep.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Yeah, Kingdom Hearts 2 is the first game I actually ever took like the music and ripped it onto a CD to take to me with school so I could listen on the go.
Bro,
like, we talk about the gym, right? We talk about like getting these tunes on the go, but Kingdom Hearts 2 is the first one that made me want to go to that length.
The way people feel about Final Fantasy's Phantasy Star 2's music from start to finish, even when you in a town, when you go to a shop, and them boss battles, you fight Dark Force and Mother Brain nothing gets me. I hear that music, I'm going through a wall through the gym because I remember what I was doing. You remember them fights, bro? Like, no, we winning this. Yeah. That's when game music is great.
It absolutely is. So just a reminder, put that in your gym playlist. You'll see a difference.
Absolutely.
Kendrick Lukenbach is our next write-in. Good day, Dukes. I have crossed a personal, massive milestone for achievements in my Xbox life. I've reached 200,000 gamer score. I used to be a massive achievement hunter in my high school and college days, but have dropped off in my adult life, so it's incredible to have actually reached this point. Do you guys have any great achievement milestones in your personal gaming life? Thanks, gents. Best to you and your families. Thank you, Kendrick. Cog, how much of an achievement hunter are you nowadays? Because I used to really, like, college was like when I really went all in on trophy and achievement hunting. I had a pretty rapid pace for my achievements, but I dropped out of Xbox for a while and moved to PlayStation, where I love that trophy ecosystem and they were pumping out the games, bro. So like I was more into that type of stuff. But I want to start with you. Do you have any, like, whether it be like the total gamer score or like a particular achievement you got that you were like, I'm proud of that one?
There's a bunch.
I think I remember one of yours actually.
Actually, remind me.
Yours?
Gears, that was huge. Yeah. Gears was one of those joints that when you got that, you're like, yo. And I remember that one, was it Seriously or whatever it was, where it's like 10,000 kills?
It was a ton of people killed.
Obscene, right? For me, I always take pride in the games I consider like my GOAT games, right? So the ones that I'm most proud of, and this was me and you destined to do a show together, bro, Oblivion, that 1,000, Skyrim, that 1,000.
Yeah.
Like that meant I did every DLC, everything they require. When I love a game to its core, I feel almost obligated. Like, I know this is an Xbox podcast, but on the PlayStation side, like, I don't care about platinum, but that Ghost of Tsushima got that platinum. You know what I'm saying? Like, when I love you to the core, every Tekken game, 1,000. Like, I don't play like
nice.
I can't claim to be the god of tech. You know what I'm saying? Not the god, but that's my favorite joint.
Yeah,
that's my thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's certain games. Now, the only ones that I will say that it's my games that I probably, because I just feel they're a little bit too ridiculous sometimes. Gears sometimes can be a little too. Halo sometimes can be a little bit too specific with certain achievements and certain scenarios. They want you to be in.
Is multiverse. It's just on an off note. They have great achievements.
Nice. Yeah. I like that. You know what I'm saying? The other thing I was going to say, and I mentioned it before, and I'll be hounding Xbox guys. I'll be like, bro, I want my achievement showcase back. The Xbox One era had it. I want to be able to showcase the art of the 5 favorite, the things I'm the most proud of. And you can see it on my profile. And you're like, oh, wow, he got that. Like, I want that back. It means, and that's why PlayStation is kind of doing them dirty with these platinum joints, because platinum means something, bro. Like, people take a pride in that. And I want Xbox to have that synonymous with them. They have great franchises. But yeah, 360, end the question, 360 was the era I went hard. Like, me, King, we went back. It was so bad. Like, we were kind of like Randall Thor during that era.
Oh, yeah?
We would pick up games we ain't even like. We would go to the Blockbuster and be like, let's get Barbie Sundance. I got some Easy 1,000. You know what I'm saying? We was bad. Like, because we would wake up in the morning. I'm like, oh, damn, King done jumped ahead of me. Like, nah.
Oh, man, no. It was personal.
We ain't buy games we ain't even like just because we knew it was. And this is when Xbox got smart, because there was some devs that were just straight lazy. I remember there was a game, was it King Kong or some game in the 360 era that was like a movie tie-in, and it was like 5 achievements. Each was like 100. It was easy. I was like, oh yes, these are the chunk games.
There's some games that would literally sell themselves based off that. Avatar: Burning Earth was one. You could get all 1,000 gamer score in the first 5 minutes of the game because it was all combo based. There was no achievements marking story progression. None of that. It was just get a 50 hit combo, I think was the top one. So I remember firing it up. Boom, 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 boom. I rented it, or no, I bought it used from GameStop. Boom, 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 boom. Returned that shit that same day. I was like, all right, that's free.
No shame. No, bro, I remember the last time I engaged in this foolery was the Xbox One era, right? And I got to shout out my man. I don't know if he listens. Anchorman V. That's my guy, right? And I forgot you know how like the cool thing about Xbox One is they tell you for the month, Xbox currently, who's on your friend list. That's right. So what happens is I forgot who I got into it with, and somebody was like, tired of Cog. Every time I look, he above me this month. Oh, it was Red. It was Red. I was like, Red, you think you nice? I find you the king, you the man with the million. Mm-hmm. But I told people, if y'all give me time and this old Cog and I don't got my responsibilities like how it used to be, I will smoke anybody when it comes to these achievements. So he was like, you ain't gonna be. I said, I ran this on. So me and him had a for like 1 month. I got the tweet. I'll find it and I'll put it up. I was like, I could die now. I've beaten the great Randall Thor in a month full of achievements. Shout out to Batman V. He gave me the straight up alley-oop. He's like, yo, get that Ben-Hur chariot game and you could go around. There were some games. That was so easy. I was like, yes. Then I had my main core games. But yeah, man. Oh, shout out to Telltale Games.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Telltale Games.
Oh, yeah. Easy.
All you got to do is beat a chapter here and there. Keep going. But yeah, I used to be super competitive and ridiculous with that. I just wanted to beat him. It was one of those things like I'm one of the old guys that prove I still have it against the young champ. And I was like, I know he's the man. I can't beat him on anything else. Like he's just the man. But that month, I dedicated. I knew. I was like, if I play like how I used to play, I was like, I'll get you out of here, bro. And I got him. I'll find the tweet.
Definitely. I don't know if I have like a personal milestone because, like I said, I bounced around so much that my achievement progress, like I was big on achievement hunting as well. For me, it was like high school, college. So yeah, I was just buying games again, not to the level of Barbie. I was buying stuff I was interested in, but I was buying it and kind of like going, okay, like I might be interested in this. Let me play it. And then some games I liked more because of achievements. Like I remember Rage. Particularly the first Rage had a really fun achievement list. I never got the full achievements for it, 1,000 gamer score, but I came close because usually what put me off, and it still does to this day, is I'm a big like 75%er. Like you will see if you go down my list, I will get almost all of your achievements or trophies. But if I don't like your game enough to like see the lingering 3 to 5 achievements or trophies where I'm just like, oh, you want me to put about 60 more hours into the game and practically enslave all of my free time to this game. No, sorry, I'm not going to do that. Like I had a great time.
I'm with you.
So that's why like I think of like what are the platinums and 1,000% I'm most proud of. And I'm with you. Oblivion was one. Oblivion's kind of easy. Just complete all the faction storylines, but like there's a satisfaction to that.
So they were long, bro.
They were.
Fighters Guild, Thieves, Dark Brotherhood.
What impressed me was like there was so much more content beyond that you could have seen. But there were ones like complete X amount of just side quests. So that's how they got you to put more time in the game. Skyrim being one. I remember Skyrim, I put like 300 plus hours into on 360. Like not just achievement hunting, but by playing the game, I got, I believe, all the achievements for that. So yeah, the Bethesda Game Studios games were great. Fallout 3 Platinum, I remember so well. I literally have the full journey documented on my YouTube channel. It's called Fallout 3 Road to Platinum. And dude, I just remember like some of them were such save scummy slogs. Like I had to, because you had to get like level 8 with neutral and with good karma and bad karma. So what I do is I create save states and I'd like load the game and complete quests in all different ways. And I'd make checklists. I'm like, all right, because I'm going to do this in good karma first, because I'm closer to that in my karma meter, I'm going to get the achievement for beating this quest. And on top of that, I'm going to get the good karma level 8 by the time it's done. Then we're going to reload. We're going to get the good karma or a neutral karma because we're going to give, because like, yeah, I would take like bottles of water. I'd like farm purified bottles of water. I'd give it to the homeless man. I'd be like, here you go. Give me good karma. Okay, we're going to do all the quests this way. Like, bro, I rigged the system. Like to me, if there was ever a time I went like deep in the cut on achievement trophy hunting and like got into my process, like that was it. Fallout 3, like because that trophy list was not good. Fallout 4 is much better. A lot of people agonize in Fallout 4 over the settlement happiness trophy. I think if you did it at launch, it was broken. I did it years after. So when I did it, I just walked away. I went to the bathroom. I went on a jog. I came back. Your boy had the trophy. I was like, all right, cool. So
let's go.
Those come to mind. One that was particularly agonizing that I talk about a lot was Neo 1 and Amazing Spider-Man 2. I don't know why I put myself through Amazing Spider-Man 2. That was a all-timer bad game, and that is a all-timer horrible trophy list, but I just love Spider-Man. And I was in college. I just got my PS4, had nothing to do. So I flipped on a lot of podcasts, and I just grinded it out. That is not an exaggeration. I listened to 2 like 4-hour shows. Like I put the time in on this game, and I hate that I did. But that one in particular, I wouldn't say I have pride for, but I would put it on like the achievement showcase. I'd be like, I went to a length none of you ever will, right?
Exactly.
So those are some that come to mind. But yeah, in my terms of overall numbers, like on both trophies for platinums and achievement 1,000 gamers score, I don't really have as many as I would like to say I do. I mean, I definitely went hard on platinums, but there are even ones that like were unfinished, like Lord of the Rings Conquest, one of my favorite games ever, and like that one is missing like a trophy. Like I should just go get the platinum because there's online achievements and trophies. I don't have it, so unfortunately missing out on that.
Okay. No, man, like I said, it's so funny getting into the mindset. And then one thing that used to annoy me though is like those. Remember how you talk about the 75% thing, and that was noise. But there was sometimes you have those games where it would have a component that would like tell you like go into the multiplayer and then like let's say you come back to that game's dead, and it's like it's almost impossible to get this thing because it's so separated. And those are ones that used to drive me nuts, man. And there's the one I will regret. There is one that I have a regret. Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
Oh,
I was supposed to have 1,000 in that game. Why COG did the Cardinals in.
Oh no.
When I found out very early, I love that game.
Yeah, same.
But I found out that was one of the only games that actually had Silver Surfer as a character. And the grind required for it was pretty intense. You had to do all these things called the comic book missions.
Yeah. And those one of the best parts of the game, but grindy.
Hard. Then you first got to find all of them.
True. You don't even collect.
You got to find everyone, and they'd be hitting in some obscure, and the game was massive. Then you got to complete them, right? At a certain difficulty level. Them joints were hard. There were solo things. You couldn't really bring people in there. So I remember, and they had their code, and it was like, yo, and this is so evil by Activision.
I know what happened.
So evil. And I said, damn, I could play for Silver Surfer right now. My favorite character in all of the MCU ever in a game done right. And I saw his power list. I was like, I got to play with this character. So I put it in the code.
You put in the nuclear code, bro. That disables the achievements, right?
Bro, but Matty, that's so evil. Why would you do that to somebody? Why would you say, we gonna give you a code, but if you do it, you can't get the achievement legit? So I look at other people's gamer score lists on Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and I see that Surf's Up achievement. I'm so jelly. That is supposed to be the achievement. That's my man. And I can't have that achievement. I even tried to do it legit, did it, and it didn't unlock. I was like, bro, this is just y'all coming for me. It's permanently blocked off your joint.
Oh, wait. So you're saying, okay, I misunderstood. I thought you put in a cheat code, like, which would disable it. You're saying they gave you like a code for the character.
There's a code basically in Activision. They say, hey, you want to unlock, you want to play with the and you do it. Oh, by the way, you ain't getting that achievement though. And I'm like, wow.
Even on a fresh save file, that's cold.
Fresh save file. I did it multiple times.
Ice cold. That's ice cold.
I look at that little icon. Such disgust that
I wonder if you probably not. If you like deleted it completely from your hard drive.
Tied to my account.
Yeah.
On an account level.
You would have to make a whole new account just to get things right. That is so wrong. I saw pain in that like squeeze that you just did there.
Surf's Up achievement. Bane of my existence.
Dude, I'm sorry. That's tragic.
I can laugh now, but that bothered my soul not having that one.
Our last question goes to Sam Lee. Hello, fellows. I've been catching up on this year's EVO, and it got me thinking, should Microsoft consider creating their own EVO, but for first-person shooters? They own Halo, Overwatch, and Call of Duty. If they could get third-party games like Apex Legends into the roster, could this work? Did I just see RoboCop shoot Katana in the vagina kinda day? I don't know this reference. I haven't seen RoboCop yet.
It's hilarious. Yeah, I see it a little bit, but I didn't see that part. Yeah, it's Evo, man. Evo, they need to get involved. We need to have a fighting game.
Think about this though. We've heard speculation about this before. They got MLG with Activision, don't they? I mean, I think if you get the third party support and become like the all-in-one host, like that's something that's worthwhile, bro. Being the centerpiece of that, making Xbox like really solidifying, like PlayStation does with Evo, like we're the shooter box.
Absolutely, and you wanna solidify, what is it? CDL, Call of Duty League, massive out here, massive. I went to an event recently up in New York. I was in Brooklyn, and I was just learning about the culture, and I'm just like, these guys are savants. Yep. This is next level stuff. So you become the home of Call of Duty. There's the branding with now having the marketing and the Xbox controllers, and like that's a thing. Now you create, and let's be honest, it's Xbox. They're the shooter box. Yeah. They are. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It makes sense. You know what I mean? So I think that's a great idea. I think they'll embrace it with Call of Duty. As far as like a league for just all FPS, I don't know. But it's a great idea. They got Quake going or something. I mean, there's a lot of avenues they could go. But yeah, they're the home of the first person shooter. And I still die on this sword that the best controller for FPS is Xbox.
Absolutely.
I'm not even, I'll fight people. I'm sorry. I love PlayStation, I love you for fighting. Love 100%. Your D-pad for fighting. 100. But when it comes to that FPS, that offset and long, ain't nothing doing it better than Xbox, in my opinion. I'm just going to be honest.
No, so I completely agree.
I'm rolling with the offset and long, bruh.
Xbox would be wise to really take advantage of what they have now and like revisit what does the Fan Fest look like? Revisit what do their showcases really look like moving forward as they continue to add big teams, and especially what is their, what's their identity as a box? And I know they don't want to solely be a shooter box, but that is a huge part of the market. There's a reason you're paying for Call of Duty, right? Like if you could just be the all-in-one first-person shooter box, just like PlayStation is absolutely has a stranglehold on the fighting genre, I think you take that and run away with it, right? Because like even PlayStation has conceded, I think ill-advised by the way, like we have nothing. We can't battle against them at all, man. Like we just can't. It's right. Like they've shown their hand that they feel weak in comparison. Obviously, they have to be the victim so that they go, no, you can't do this. Of course. But when that's out there, like I look at that and say, like, let's make this our identity, right? Like let's capture everything that they could do. I don't want to sound too nostalgic here, but anything they could do 360 generation vibe, I think is like a smart play. And this was one of them. They were like closely tied with MLG was like a big deal, right? Like I used to have an MLG t-shirt in high school, ridiculously. But like if you could revitalize that, tie things back together with that, bring it to a new level where competitive play, esports is much more respected now, much more understood now, and associate yourself closely with that, be a wise move on their part.
Absolutely. 100% agree.
Yeah. That's all the questions we got for this show. That's all the topics we have for this show. Excellent work, my friend.
Me too, man. Back in the saddle, the Dukes back together. Loved it, man. The question I would ask you, I'm actually at stoked for this hashtag. It was so many different topics. So I'm just like,
Surf's Up, DD. That's just
yeah, let's do it. I heard,
that pain in your voice, man. That captured me in a special way.
Surf's Up, DD. Yeah, that was something.
Yeah. All right.
I like it.
All right, excellent. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening. You got this deep. You want to let us know, then fire away with the hashtag SurfsUpDD on Twitter. I'm at G27status. That's at Lord Cognito. In the comment section on the YouTube video, if you don't do social media. In the Patreon comment section even. Let us know your thoughts on the show, not just the hashtag, right? We'd like to see what you're thinking. What's the vibe of the show so far? So please do fire away. We'd love to continue to see you interact with what we're doing here. Cog, any closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
We were back, man. Another one. A lot of stuff heating up, things planned. Indeed. So I'm excited. So yeah, the Dukes are back. More to come.
Right on. Looking forward to next week. We'll have much more to talk about. So with that, take great care of yourselves, and we will see you next week for episode 86 of Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast. Peace out.
Peace.
Defining Duke, an Xbox podcast, is a product and trademark of Last Stand Media and Colin's Last Stand LLC, and is recorded from the United States of America. The show is conceived by Matthew Mr. Matty Plays Schroeder and me, Colin Moriarty, and is written and produced by Matthew Schroeder. Matty's co-host is Barry Lord Cognito Eversley. Defining Duke's executive producer is Dustin Furman, and the show is edited by associate producer Ben Smith. All of Last Stand's theme music is by Ramon Narvaez. As you know, all of Last Stand Media's shows, including Defining Duke, are fan-funded on Patreon at patreon.com/laststandmedia. The following names are at the producer support level on Patreon, and we're thankful for your kindness and generosity.